Treasury, if we only have two CDs, we're going to have a slower burn rate for the Treasury.
That's true.
So it does have an impact how many people participate and how much money we spend. And so hopefully the Treasury doesn't get drained too fast, Mo.
Yeah, we did this on purpose. Yeah. It's
That kind of sucks.
So what, hey guys, in the current bylaws, there is the ability to lower the distribution rate midterm. I think maybe that's what Javier is referring to. And so just be aware that that's an option.
Yeah, I mean, it is an option. You can lower it. In order to raise, you would need to wait for the next set of CDs to ratify that. But what I'm saying is if we have less CDs, we have less people to pay, basically. So it means that we're going to stretch out the Treasury a bit more. If we had 4 CDs, we'd be spending as twice as much, right? Paying all 4 CDs. So yeah.
That's actually, if I may jump in, that actually good. I mean, we haven't talked yet. We have to discuss me and Mo too, and similarly. But one of my things that I went forward on, and like I said, we are similar sentiments there, Mo and me, is that we have to engage the community. We have to get the people. And if we're now talking about lowering rates and stuff, that could get people interested to be part of a discussion, because but we'll see how we develop things.
I don't think you're going to get less funding. I thought there's a set amount of the Treasury that is dispersed every month, and it's just simply divided amongst the number of delegates. So since there's less cheap delegates, you're just going to get more of a piece of that pie, because the pie size doesn't change.
That's what they referred to, didn't they? That we could lower the percentage.
Maybe Chris is right. We ran some numbers. Remember, Chris, we had the Excel sheets, and one of the variables was how many people participated, how many cheap delegates we would end up with.
Yeah, and so if there's less chief delegates, they each individually get more, because the amount of the distribution is still going to be a fixed amount from the Treasury. So that's why there might be value in reducing it midterm, which you can do as a vote. But I mean, I think you guys are going to use funds well anyway. So, you know, it is what it is. Interesting.
So we have time to figure it out and have a look at it.
We've got folks from Group 1 here. What?
I was going to say, I'm starting from the position that I'm not willing to lower it. So
all right, hold that thought. We got 2 characters here from Group 1 that did not reach consensus. I'd love to hear what happened there.
Welcome to the group. Welcome.
Marco, you go first, then Dan next, and maybe we'll talk to our new CDs after that.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
So if Patrick was elected, we probably would have potentially 4 CDs, right? 4 in each room.
Yes.
Instead of 4, we have 2. So one of the things I brought up that was somebody else's idea was giving the L1s more responsibility. Since there's 2 CDs, and this will make the head chief more valuable here. The head chief would have the ultimate veto power or whatever, but with 2 chief delegates and 2 spots that were supposed to be filled, and it would bring incentive, giving some of the chief delegate funding for level 1 delegates who want to participate, splitting the vote on any bylaw decisions. It doesn't have to be the level that other chief delegates, but just enough incentive to get some level 1s into the decision-making process. So then we would have 50% being done by the level 1s and the other by the chief delegates, but ultimately the head chief would have the final decision. It's an opportunity to change. It's an opportunity to do something with maybe what's not working. And we want to make this attractive for the new people coming from the EVM. We don't want them looking and saying, look, there's 2 delegates here. What happened? Why do I want to participate in a process like this? It's the wrong time to do that. To show that we can show true decentralization, to offer level 1s to go in there. The level 1s that just want the little funding, that don't want to do any work, take it and go. They provide no value, but the other ones that do are inspired. They can inspire others, and they can show, look, you just got to win your first round to make a difference. Story about our room.
Marco, yeah, any comment on what transpired in your group?
The EVM, the whole community is focused on EVM, And the strongest opinions with that were on one side. The other side was the creativity and experience. And it almost was one side really wasn't paying much attention to it. But I believe the new people coming in believe in, whether from Ethereum. If I put it like this, let's continue the feeling of the ideathon. Let's move that forward. And the other side didn't really have much comment on that, so we couldn't push it. But at the end of the day, we sort of did come to consensus and just ran out of time. And the consensus was sort of Brian. But again, we have the opportunity to do something different here.
All right, Dan.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon. And hello, everybody. Great to see you all. Hope you all had a great election so far. So yeah, our room was hectic. I don't know if Brian is here. Oh yeah, Brian. Hey, Brian. Yeah, so it'd be interesting maybe if Brian and Lennie want to share their thoughts too, but I can just provide a brief overview of what happened. So yeah, there was quite a few technical issues. So first off, myself and Lennie, we weren't able to access the UI. And so it was a little bit confusing, like trying to vote there, and I wasn't able to see who voted for who. So there was some confusion, and we also spent some time because Chase was supposed to join, but he didn't join. So we got kind of a late start, and we were trying to go quick so we could make sure we reached consensus. And then basically we had like some pretty deep discussions for the last like 20 minutes or so forth, and lots of questions. Brian, it was the first time I met him, but he's an awesome candidate and just an awesome person. He's doing a lot of great work with EOS for a long time, as well as Telos and Libre, and he got marketing and development skills. So, and then I was talking because I also want to be a chief delegate as well. And so Lennie was supporting me, and then Marco was, I think, supporting Brian, and Marco was also supporting himself for a while too. But I was a little bit confused at the end, and then we had like 2 or 3 minutes left, and we were trying to come to consensus, and basically we didn't during that time. After that, I kind of regretted it because I thought Brian's doing great work. And so after that, we came to consensus that if it were possible to make some sort of change, we'd elect Brian as the chief delegate. And so I don't know if it's possible, like being that there's, I know that the smart contracts are designed and built to be, you know, automated, and in previous times when people weren't able to come to consensus, it was just like a too bad kind of situation. That's what happens. That's how it works. Although we figured since this is the first time that there is a situation where there's only 2 chief delegates, perhaps it might be possible for the current chief delegates or the Edenia team or somebody to somehow make it so Brian can be a chief delegate. I think that'd be awesome, and I'd love to see it. But also, we also just, I mean, overall, we all like enjoyed the room and are looking forward to collaborating in any case. But I suppose that's basically a summary that there were some tech issues and also people who wanted to be chief delegate, and we just didn't have enough time to come to consensus. And I see CSC saying no, and Patrick saying you're right, and Lucas saying process is process. But process could change too, though. I mean, there could be benefits to having 3 chief delegates, and Brian, I think, would be an excellent chief delegate too. So personally, I would advocate for the process can be improved with the process. So I would say that if we can come to consensus to somehow enable Brian to be a chief delegate, then I think that would be the best solution. But also, I know that might be a lot of work for the Edenia team. They got a lot of great stuff going as well too. So in any case, it was a good election and a good learning experience, and I'd be happy to hear from Brian and everybody else. And yeah, we're happy to answer any questions if I didn't go anything over. But thanks everybody so much, and look forward to a great Eden delegates. Congratulations, Mo and Lennie too. I'm really happy to see you guys got elected. So congrats, and thanks everybody.
You know, say a couple words here. It was a great election. Dan and Marco were great candidates. It's just really unfortunate that we had some technical issues. I think Chase wasn't able to log into the Eden website, and then we had some troubles with the voting and like seeing who was voting for who. But I value like the blockchain and the smart contract itself, and I'm totally okay if I wasn't voted in as a chief delegate, even though we did come to consensus on video. Once again, congratulations to Noame and Lennie. I think you guys are great representatives.
Leister, shout out to Leister. What was the problem with the UI? This one, error loading election information. Please reload the patch to try again. So you have to be precise with what was the error. Otherwise, we cannot reproduce again and fix it. So say what was really the problem into the UI.
The error in my case, and I believe Lennie's case too, was just that the UI just wasn't loading. It's now able to load, and I was able to load it in the first room, no problem. But it was just giving a spinning loading kind of symbol the whole time.
Spinning,
Yeah, but you don't know how to vote on blocks, Dan?
No, I do know how to vote on blocks, and I went to Jorn's guide, which was very helpful. Big shout out and thanks to Jorn. And I went there, but it was just like in the last like 2 minutes, basically, I asked if Brian and Mark would vote for me, and it seemed like they said no, basically. And then I wasn't totally sure like who had the vote because I couldn't see the interface. And so I was like, well, I don't know if we have time if I vote for Brian. And then I started to go into like, I had to go find Brian's EOS account, which was kind of difficult to do because I didn't have the interface open. And then in the last 2 minutes, I was like trying to see if I could vote for Brian. But like, it's kind of confusing still using the interface and then trying to get his account and everything like that. So it was partially just time management, of course. I mean, if we managed time better, then could have had more time to do it. But I was able to do blocks, and I voted for myself, and blocks just tested out in the beginning. But then by the end was 5 minutes because we were like in the past couple of minutes, we were trying to reach consensus. And then in addition to that, trying to figure out, account names and like, and just get it submitted and stuff like that. And I wasn't sure like if Marco had voted for Brian. So, I changed my vote to Brian. I wasn't sure if that would do it. And I know Lennie already voted for me. So it was just kind of confusing without having the interface working. And I hope that provided some more clarity there.
During last election, round 2, whoever was trying to join had technical issues as well. So maybe if you're going to investigate that person as well trying to log in. I thought it was a different issue, but I really don't know. As far as Dan's thing, why we couldn't really move forward was he wasn't responding to the EVM being a top priority. And he would have, maybe he didn't understand that, but that was one of the things we were mainly focused on. And of course, the technical issues. But again, we had round 2 technical issues, not round 1 last election. I wonder if it's the same.
Just one thing I'll add just to clarify. I did respond to the thoughts of the EVM, and I talked about Tadas is building Firmament with EVM, which is a super helpful software that I encourage everybody to look at. I'm creating an article at edencreators.com/firmament. So I'm stoked about the EVM. Maybe I just didn't communicate that clearly enough though, but thank you, Marco. And yeah, thanks.
Cool. Well, we can do more post-mortem, and that was really good to just hear some of like the sticky points and maybe areas that we need to investigate to make stuff work better in the future. But maybe now what, Mo?
Can I just ask a quick question? What exactly about the I'm hearing EVM?
Yeah, I don't understand why that's a factor, but
yeah. Can you guys expand a little bit more on that? What exactly?
Yeah, no, we got new people coming into the community, and this is governance for the community. We can use this coordination, this consensus mechanism for the new projects and new people coming in, whether it help onboarding, technical, networking, or just projects that can offer each other benefit that could use consensus. Okay. It's logical, it's obvious from an administrative, help people reach consensus on new people coming in that may or may not be familiar with new tech coming in, and projects trying to coordinate their efforts. It's a no-brainer.
Okay. Maybe you can expand on that another like later. That's a whole other ball of wax. But Lennie.
No, I would just kindly ask the members in those groups that were, with Chase and similar, it would be much appreciated if I could just direct message me and Mo maybe, or if I just do a simple, nothing complicated. How did they experience what happened and similar? So we can see, I mean, that's something the techies have to look into as well, so we can get a kind of a report from different corners because it's perceived different from different angles normally. Thanks.
All right, well, let's maybe turn our attention to the fact that we have an unprecedented moment in Eden history here with 2 chief delegates, Mo and Lennie. And I don't know, last time we did things a little different with Reiki running the show, and we kind of opened it up for questions to the new chief delegates from everybody present. I'd like to hear a little bit about what you two, just like I'd like to hear your acceptance speech basically, and then maybe we could do a little Q&A with you guys.
let me just say thank everyone for your participation today. It's greatly appreciated. Without showing up on these days once every 3 months, we really can't do any of this. So it's fundamental. It's what makes the system work on the reputation system, getting that running for Eden and having a way for all of the members to be able to rate each other and appreciate each other's contributions. It was one of the, in my view, one of the principal things that Dan Larimer had in his vision of what Eden was supposed to be. And he attempted to build it into Fractally in terms of the respect tokens and handing respect to each other. In my view, it doesn't go nearly into enough of what one person can contribute and how their contributions should be rated. So we envision a multifaceted reputation system where people will be rating different aspects of each other. We've contributed to having the SBTs launched, and that was also thanks to Jesse pushing that effort forward. One of the fundamental parts that will cement the base layer of what the reputation system can be built on. So hopefully we can keep pushing that forward and have that part of the structure of what I view Eden can be built by the end of this term. And we can start using it by the next election. My views on Eden are generally that we are, as I was mentioning prior to this, in the phase of being a skeleton, missing a lot of meat and muscle and everything that will build us into a functioning ecosystem. So I hope to work with Lennie in getting that, all of that meat packed onto our skeleton. And to address Joshua's question before he gets lost in the chat, he was asking if we're committed to representing the interests of the people that were downstream or downline from us in those who voted for us. I've made it clear from at least a year that should be something that all of the delegates and chief delegates should be doing. Stay in contact with those that voted for you and represent them upstream and voice and amplify their views. We are representatives. We are representing constituents. We're not here acting purely on our behalf. So I hope to stay in touch with everyone that voted for me and represent your views in the coming 3 months.
I will interview Mo, as I do for every CD on every term. I am committed. I do that every time. So Mo, you are interviewed by me, Nova Crypto YouTube channel. Lennie, you will be interviewed. If you say no, I will chase you. So I will interview you. And I can tell you that I will be behind you, chasing you. And if you are not committing, I will come after you. So do the things. No, I am joking, sorry. So I will interview you, and yeah, we will have a nice exposure on Twitter. We will have a nice exposure everywhere for Eden on EOS, Eden Fractal, Pomelo, and EOS Digital Extended Networks going on. So we are supporting you. That's that to be into Eden on EOS. We are 76 today registered. So if we cannot figure out with 76 people, how you can figure out with more. Cheers.
All right, Lennie, maybe let's jump over to Lennie and then we can have a little Q&A session.
Well, I could say ditto, more or less, what Mo said, but that's half of it. And the 76 is an interesting number because we have almost 499 members as per UI, which is not quite right. We look more at the Telegram and look at those numbers. And then we had 76 registration, and I'm not sure how many we had actually show up and similarly. And out of these who show up here, it's only maybe 30, 40, 50% that actually shows up between elections and similarly. And that's what I was running on a little bit, both sessions, both rounds. Basically, that we do have to start look at our community, look at our membership. NFT comes in. I was looking into, I was part of those meetings we had early on, but then dropped out of it. That can play a role as well. We have to make it exciting. We have to make people engaged. And also Jorge was in the break in the community room earlier, and he also stressed that, hey, we think no one is doing anything, but some people, quite a few of them, are doing things, but we simply do not know because we don't communicate between elections. We are 20-30 people talking things. I'm normally quiet except once in a while. And I mean, CD has been up once a week and similar, and we get a limited number. So we have to work on different ways to engage the communities so that we can both improve networking and, you know, basically tap into those people we have, and starting already from when they join in as members, etc. But like I said, I don't have any concrete thoughts. Earlier, last election, I was aiming for bylaws. That was going to be #1 last election. And maybe someone ruled from upstairs high up that, no, too early. Because we are not ready yet for really making a really good bylaws and similar. And as per my opinion, put it up already on blockchain and similar, because we don't know where we are going. We don't have a structure. And like Mo also mentioned, we need to put a lot of meat onto these things, and we can only do it together with all members. And I know there were, I don't know how many of you saw at my commitment recaps, commitments, and similarly. I'm quite amazed. There's very few that takes interest in it, which is fair enough, but it's also another sign. But those who do, and actually took the time to look through a lot of it, they realize that there's a lot of promises made, but nothing much of it that we know of, at least. So but it's not a matter of penalizing or punishing. It's a matter of how do we engage it? How do we network? How do we know what is happening around us? So we can synchronize whatever comes toward a common objective. All that have missed, I feel. We are now 5 terms past, and we still don't know what we're doing except funding people and projects. And focus is on those projects, not on the members. That's a big mistake, I think, if we want to survive into next year. But besides that, thanks a lot. There were good people, candidates and similar, and some of them similar-minded like me. But last election, someone told me that no way am I going to bow out from anyone or whatever. I have to stand all the way up. So that's what I've been doing. Last time didn't work. But thanks, everyone. And believe me, most of you are going to hear from us, me and Mo, I think, because we are thinking alike. It's time for us to do something, really. Also between the elections. Thank you.
Hey, guys. I just wanted to share that the SBTs have been distributed successfully for this election. So thank you to the Edenia team and especially Leicester. If you go on Atomic Hub, look at your inventory and then uncheck, then you should see if you voted twice. So if you made it to the next round and you voted in the second round, you should have 2 of these SBTs. So yeah, thank you and congratulations to everyone.
What changes to the bylaws do you plan to propose to be ratified by the next group of CDs? Because any changes must be ratified by the next group. What changes do you plan that may change a tokenomic aspect of what we're doing here at Eden?
Yeah, there's no change to the tokenomics of Eden. It's going to be a reputation system based on NFTs. So based on the actions that we engage in, for example, showing up to elections, you get your SBT. Showing up to fireside chats, you get an NFT or an SBT. Uploading the videos that we record for the elections, you get an NFT or an SBT. And these are all going to be categorized as in transparency, responsibility, participation, reliability, charity. For example, charity is something that as much as we give to Pomelo, none of this is taken into account. And most of the contributions to Pomelo, and Daniel can correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of it comes from Eden members, which are highly engaged. I mean, at this point, I don't know, given some of the other members that have been contributing. But anyway, point being is that there's a lot of stuff that Eden members do that isn't taken into account or is lost over time, that a reputation system can be leveraged to take all of that into account. and keep that accountability going forward.
So do you plan to integrate that into the bylaws to make this system part of Eden, or do you plan to sort of encourage this outside of the bylaws?
Initially encourage it outside of bylaws just because I want to get it up and running as soon as possible. So whether or not the next chief delegates ratify it or not is up to them. But I'd also hope to put something into the bylaws that they can consider and ideally integrate into what Eden should be as a fully composed application and program. I wanted to address Dan's bringing up of Brian's sake and how he wasn't able to be officially elected. I would hope that Brian can meet with me and Lennie and discuss some of the issues that his constituents wanted and wanted to vote him forward for, where we might be able to see how we can integrate them into the next 3 months and see how those people can be represented in their views, because it's just a shame that they're not represented. I'm sorry if my mouth gets a little dry. I'm in the last hours of the fast. I'm in Ramadan right now, so haven't drank or eaten anything for the last 18 hours, 19 hours, and I got about 30 minutes left. So my mouth is cotton mouth.
You're doing pretty good.
So let me just chime in here. I appreciate Mohammed reaching out. I think that, you know, I can definitely provide a lot of value, and I'll talk to Mohammed and Lennie about some of the issues that we've discussed and how we can like include some of those, you know, ideas into some of the plans that you guys can implement in the near future. On top of that, I do think that, you know, we should value blockchain itself and how everything is done on smart contracts. So, you know, I have no problems with, you know, not being a chief delegate, but I think the intent behind electing me as chief delegate is valuable, and should there be an ability, like an opportunity for us to like change it so that I am a chief delegate to contribute from that manner, I'd be more than happy to do that. If not, you know, I'll reach out to Mohammed and Lennie and share my ideas. And last thing, congratulations to everybody who participated.
Yeah, I just wanted to address Marco's, I think, point on Lennie not bowing out, and I'll let Lennie speak to that as well. But I think anyone that has conviction and believes that they are the right person for the job is, in my view, fully in their right to not bow out, to stand by their thoughts and either be convinced or not be convinced. That's up to the people in that group. And anyone here is free not to reach consensus. That's part of the process.
If I add on then, after Brandon mentioned we can do so. Basically, you know, it's a matter of who is in the room with you. And like I mentioned 3 times, I didn't sort of say fight for a position further up in level 1. And that was based on the other people that I saw as more beneficial. One of them is actually Jesse here, similar. So I'm really thankful I did. And there's another 2 of them. But it's not bowing out. It's wrong to say bowing out. But I see, I might not never had a chance, even if I fought. But the thing is, they were more needed at the time than myself. But now we have 5 terms, and we still don't know where we are going. And I don't see any development going in that direction, except possibly the Y, which might be a little bit the seeds coming up through the middle board or whatever. But that's one of the governance and leadership, that kind of thing, is something I've been doing for 30 years, and community building. So that's why I said already in January that I would do it. And then someone said that do not bow out for anyone. So I took that literally and similar. So thanks anyway again.
All right. Yeah. Some of my questions already got answered, so I'm just going to ask the main one, and you guys don't have to chime in now, but the main thing I'm kind of wondering is what's the power approach? What's the strategy to positioning, you know, this group of people so that significant funding can be unlocked, either direct grant from the ENF or, you know, and or eventually maybe a little bit of inflation from the network. What we're doing is not really being taken that serious yet. So we need to posture ourselves to be doing something impressive. And I think the things going on behind the scenes and what's going to probably happen these next few months is going to move things further in that direction. But I'm wondering if anyone has a strategic, plan that I think if we keep going in this direction, it's going to lead us to that.
If I might jump in early on there. I said in a telegram a couple of weeks back, I think it was an answer of the why question, or maybe it was you asked a question, do we believe in the future and how? I said, I haven't even thought about it. What I said was also that if not, we find a source. The question is, does Eden deserve to keep on going? Why? For what purpose? We don't even have an objective. So honestly, I can't give you an answer. I do not have a strategy, but that's what we're going to work on. One of the most important things beside everything else. So you got to dig into much more and spend more time into it before you can do something realistic together with the membership. So that's my only word for now on that. Thanks.
Did you have a response to that, Mo?
Other than to say that fully in agreement with what Lennie just said. I just add that at this point, I'm still very focused on building out Eden. I don't feel that we're in a point where we should be bringing people in that aren't strategically of benefit to Eden, that are planning on contributing something to Eden. So in terms of membership, that's not really a focus of mine. The other part of it is, once we can figure out what Eden is, and if in fact what we're doing here, in my belief, is building out Eden on EOS for the benefit of EOS, then we need to show and address those responsible in EOS or of EOS, how we are of benefit to them and what we bring to the table. And in that way, we can see how we can collaborate and earn that inflation if we plan on getting funded by EOS. Eden, in my view, is a launch pad that, Eden on EOS is launching Eden. Eden is going to be the application on which other entities, other Telos on Eden, or Wax, or Alien Worlds, or Upland, or anything else that is developed can come and build on Eden. But Eden needs to be built out by Eden on EOS. We're the ones with the treasury. We're the ones with the funds. So that's my long-term vision for Eden, and it needs that infrastructure. It needs that meat on the bones. It needs to be built into that complete application.
The reputation system, and on Lennie's side, he said alignment. Create more alignment, and so the reputation system. Now, I'm assuming it's going to be a link from GenesisEdenCommunity.org to this reputation system. And then a reputation system is, so we got reputation system, we got Fractally, we got Eden Fractal, all these concepts. We got reputation, which is, something that's owned by the community, right? We got accounting of contributions. I think you used the word appreciate people. So my question to both of you guys actually is, have you looked at Fractally, at the others, Dan's Laramie's project, as a competitor to Eden? And have we thought about improving our software? I know there's all these projects about building out these little projects around Eden, but nobody's really innovating the portal, essentially. Yeah, that's it.
Just a very quick one, but basically, those are the kind of things we need to dig into. I'm not extremely happy with the procedures and stuff, and a lot of processes and things that can be improved. And that the only way we can really do that is to talk to the people who run these things, develop these things, programmers. I'm not a developer, as most of you know, and really go through it, and stuff. So definitely part of it would be to look over the software UI. Now the Telegram bot, I tried that. I did it in round one. round 2, they went to Zoom, and we had issues on Zoom. We didn't have it on Telegram. So I think that is a big step that might improve. But anyway, it's too early and right now, because now come the time that we can actually dig down. It's worth the time for us to really dig down with it and take a look at it and bring it forth what we believe is best forward. Thanks.
I would generally just say that my answer would be yes. Whatever we can do to better the code and the UI should be looked into and should be improved upon. I did not join Fractally. I've been aware of Fractally and of everything that they've built, or as much of it as I could follow from the beginning. So I'm very aware of what they've done and how the Eden Fractal has leveraged a lot of what that has been and continued on with it and incorporated it into the Eden process. So I've been a huge proponent of them complementing each other. There's utility in both processes. So I'd like to see more of that.
I just wanted to chime in real quick, and sorry to interrupt. I wanted to point out that Eden software has been changed. There's quite a, I would say, good code frequency and updates being done every term. Every CD has improved the software, and it hasn't been a stale project since Fractally handed over the project to the community. We've been actively improving it, and it's all open source. I'm happy to share the different versions that have been released, but with every term, we've improved it, we've learned, and we're iterating over it. So it's definitely not a static software. It's been actively worked on, and I'm really proud of the work we've done. So I just wanted to, if anyone's interested in seeing what code changes have been pushed out, I'd be more than happy to provide the link to the GitHub and all the open source code that we've been rolling out.
I meant more in terms of Dan Larimer's project, and I'm assuming he's, this was his version 1, right? So he's trying to make a version 2, and I'm thinking, are we trying to hang with them there, or are we're kind of going on our own route? So it's more about other innovations that we could throw in there.
Maybe I just do a short comment on the Elias expansion on it. I mean, as you're aware, Dan, they kind of pulled back a little bit because of illegal things happening in America and whatever. And they don't have, I mean, they do the Sybase today, which is completely different from what Eden is, upvote and similar. And even Fractally in that stage, the only thing they kind of had UI-wise and similar was the voting procedure, respect procedures. So it's kind of not really comparative to upvoting. Upvoting is quite unique, the way we do it. And what Xavier said, I totally agree. I mean, I've been following these things closely. And but definitely things can improve. I mean, we have Eden Fractal is doing certain apps, 2 good developers over there doing stuff that is really amazing. So there is a lot of things that can be done, but we need to make more networking. We need to talk together in the memberships, because there are things that can be easily. I mean, we all know what someone always talk about collaboration, and collaboration comes through networking and people talking to each other, and that's what we're missing. Thanks.
I'm a newcomer. I'm not familiar with everything that's been happening, but it's very clear just coming in that there's more than one kind of respect in the larger EOS community. Something that I noticed about the last election, when, I'm sorry if I'm blinking out for a minute, I'll stabilize in a minute. I didn't want to have noise. In the last election, somebody had several people come in, and some people saw it as red teaming, which would be a good thing to point out the shortfalls of the system. Some people were really offended that he tried it. And that, some people would give that positive respect, some people would give it negative respect. I think there needs to be room for both. So I'm wondering how the community can use the fractal system so that people could go into breakout rooms or sub-communities where people have the same values. We need to be tolerant of a lot of things, but progress is made when people are in consensus and agree, not when they argue. And I think that the respect should be able to reflect that ambivalence by having people like Stefan. I don't even know if that's the right pronunciation. I never met him and I wasn't there when the controversy happened. I can just hear its echoes. And I'm thinking he should be getting both positive respect for pointing out the shortfall because he did it openly, and negative respect for doing it in the full community when he should have been more careful about how he did it. And I think there should be two sub-communities that are giving out those two different kinds of respect. And that's just one example. It's the example I noticed coming into Eden on EOS, having seen only what happened in Eden Fractal up until now. But I think that it's important for any community that wants to grow larger to be able to split itself and then put itself back together based on common values that are shared by sub-communities. It's a concern that I have. I'm not sure I have a solution. I think other people would have to think about that too, because if we were just to split into breakout rooms based on people's values, we're defeating the whole purpose of the random selection, which is one of the strongest powers of the fractal process. So I was wondering, especially for Mo, but also from Lennie, what your thoughts are about how we can proceed in that. And if there's any way I can contribute to making that process better.
It's, I mean, I've been part of both Eden Fractal, Genesis Eden, and similarly, and so I've seen them all. And in my view, much of these, they are different parts of a bigger system. Okay, Sybase that Dan did and similar is built different, but particularly Eden Fractal is something that, so to say, Eden Fractal looks ahead in future. No, sorry, opposite. Looks backward, and Eden looks forward when it comes to funding and all these kind of things, and weekly and 3 monthly and similar. There are synergies, you know, there could be a lot of interesting stuff in the future. And with NFTs coming in, as you mentioned, subcommittees and so, I see a lot of possibilities, you know, because it's also about, like I said, you got to excite the membership a little bit. You got to get them to feel part of it. They are doing something. They're not just riding along and jump to the next one after 6 months. So, you know, definitely, but we need to sit down. I mean, first me and Mo, of course, and because we don't really have discussed these matters at all between us. And now we have to be in consensus, us two, for anything to happen, so to say, on a bigger scale. So, you know, it takes a couple of weeks, but believe me, my view is, and I think Mo agree, we're going to have regular meetings, regular things. We expect and hope people will actually join up, and it's for us to make sure it happens. And there come again NFTs and other things and respect showing up. But one thing I've noticed in my years here now in different communities is tech has a way of getting in between what you wish to do and excitement and to make it flourish. But tech is an hindrance, and I see too much focus on tech. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but we're forgetting the members. We're forgetting the people who are going to drive this out to the public or help around and get the synergies within our own members. And that's a little bit what I was preaching in our 2 rounds. And but it's too early for me to say anything on it until really dug into it and think about it and have some more meetings like this. Thanks.
Let me first say that also in agreement with everything Lennie just said. Like he's been saying, we are really aligned in our way of thinking. Neither of us are programmers, so it should be an interesting next 3 months being led by non-programmers. And to what Noam was speaking to, in terms of having discussions between people, arguments, and not being able to reach consensus, I think that's problematic, and I think it's why we're here. The idea of reaching consensus and then giving consent is important. Recognizing that once you've reached consensus, the people that you've elected, they are the ones that are supposed to be moving this process forward. The incentive needs to be in that we want to reach a shared goal. So this is what really unites communities, having that shared goal and that shared vision. If people are pulling each in their own separate directions, there's really no reason to meet. There's really no reason for all of us to be here. We have a shared goal, and that's the betterment for EOS, or that's what it should be. First and foremost. Then there are also people here that are here for Eden. They need to recognize that until we build that what's better for Eden on EOS, we're not going to be able to supply the rest of the world with a product that they can use. It's coming from the EOS side. So in terms of what Stefan did, he says he did it with the best intent. Let's assume so. As you were saying, that there's still the echoes of that being felt in the community. He raised a lot of valid questions that should be addressed. We've all still been operating under the impression and the pretense that we're all here under our best intentions. No one here is here to hack the system, for example, but someone could. So things to keep in mind moving forward. I don't know to what degree they're important yet, but they will be.
Can get both positive and negative reputation from different sub-communities that agree that they're part of the bigger community.
Let me first say,
each sub-community has its own flavor, its own. So can we make the reputation support that kind of diversity?
Well, let me first say that the initial construction of the reputation system, when we conceptualized it, it was always with the intent that we're going to be primarily rewarding positive behavior and incentivizing positive behavior and not focusing on negative behavior. Just because when you reinforce positive behavior, you guide people into that direction, and it's been shown through studies to work better than focusing or highlighting negative behavior. So from that end, there's that to be said about it. From the negative side of it, recently through discussions with Jesse and the building out of the dispute resolution system that hopefully will also be advanced, we would like to see something happen here where an SBT is going to be issued that is going to take into account people's negative actions, per se. So that's going to be tracked. However, the way that we've also been thinking about that is in terms of having it expire. So over time, it's going to be decaying NFT. The value of it is going to decay over time and eventually not be taken into account, just because people need to have that chance to be rehabilitated, per se.
Yes.
So you don't want to just have someone have something negative be placed on someone and it be permanent.
What about something that's neutral?
That's neutral?
Yeah. It's just a property that goes with the SBT. we don't want to assign a value to it, although sub-communities might decide that they want more of these people, like somebody might be a programmer. That's not positive or negative, but it's something you want to attach to their SBT.
That's
They want
more
to get reputation as a programmer.
that's more a badge. So that's not really in the scope of what we're doing. You can look at Highfell, which is doing more in terms of badges, where they're identifying people in the community for their roles.
Okay, if the head chief delegate breaks a tie, and there's two people, there's always a tie. So whoever's elected head chief by tradition will make all the decisions. No?
I don't think that's in the rules.
No, unanimous. It needs to be two. I mean, you need 2/3, and 2/3 cannot be one of us. And we don't have that final casting vote in case it's a draw. The chairman have one more or similar. That's never been applied here, and that's not how I see it, honestly. So it's me and Mo. We got to work on it. We're gonna really have our consensus skills up to it. And if not, there might be a reason, because they might reflect the community.
One thing I would add in terms of the head chief delegate role is that the way that I've viewed it is that it's a speaker role. He's the speaking for the chief delegates, not there's no vote associated with it. So I believe, Chris, you were telling me that you had the Twitter handles for the head chief delegate. So you could just hand that over to whoever is going to be the head chief delegate between the two of us, and they'll be responsible for emitting communications to the public.
Yep, sounds good. I can't recall how we handed it over to the last set, but I think we did. I think that was done. So yeah, we'll just do the same and make sure that you guys have the ability to post as your voice.
Yeah, I just confirm on that. We have the credential on the Twitter account. Us, the current CDs, we have not used this Twitter account during the Storm 5 because we don't ever know ourselves what was hidden or what is supposed to be. We were just focused on the processes, and we made a great job on that. Nothing to say. And now for this term, we have Lennie and Mo, two chief delegates, so they will have the credential because that's an asset, the Twitter account, so they will have that. There is also the YouTube channel of Waxa, where I have posted all the videos of this term 5, so you will be able to post video there. By the way, I am offering my services for you both by doing every week the chief delegate meeting into Telegram. If you agree, I will be the moderator, or let's say the guy that is recording and pushing the video on YouTube and pushing on IPFS with Xavier Fernandez. We have made a fantastic job on that. Thank you, Xavier. So that's just an offer of me. That's not to say you have to choose me, but I will be very happy to do. And now to say what we discussed now with Eden Fractal, Fractally, and Eden On EOS and all that. My opinion on that is we have different circles around EOS. We have Eden Fractal, we have Eden On EOS, we have EOS Bees, we have EOS support, we have everyone has a circle around EOS creating something. So now, if everyone here into the 76 people that are registered here, we are going into weekly meeting like Eden Fractal, that's very good. Myself, I have made the experience. That's a good experience. That lets you to week after week be very committed and doing the things and making your contribution. So that's a fantastic, let's say, place to go. That's a catalyst. You find great people there like Vlad, Tadas, Lennart. Maybe I think he has joined one time, and other people joining into Eden Fractal, where we meet and we maybe find collaboration together. For example, EOS Digital Extended Network, EOSDE.net, that is up and live. That's a collaboration between myself, Vlad, CAC. There is also Jesse into the MSIG. There will be other into this EOSD.net. That's a platform. That's to let's connect people and collaborate together. That's not a caprice of myself. That's an initiative to let's connect together. So now everyone can create a platform. Everyone can create his initiative, as long that is benefit everyone and that is very inclusive and public good and on chain. That's a yeah baby. That's a green light, and that's helped us to work together. So what we need to move on with Eden on EOS, we should find way to collaborate together. And behind this word collaborate, that's mean connect the circles, not mesh, connect, and be aligned. But sometimes you cannot be aligned. You are just aligned where you are seeing backward and connecting the dots and say, oh yeah, indeed, I have a good feeling with this guy or this girl. We will do something fantastic together. 1 + 1 = 3. We know the sound. 1 + 1 = 3. Law of the universe and Morricone book and etc. But now they are both elected today. But us, we have to follow them. We have to support them. We have to collaborate together, cooperate together, and let the other member of the Eden community join us and incentivize them to build something together. Let's build something together. Let's join our power together, our skills together. Go to Eden Fractal when you can. That's not mandatory, but try. Go on Eden Town Hall on the Sunday. Join the meetings that offer you this EOS ecosystem. Go into the fireside chat also by ENF, by EOS Nation. So that's a whole. And Eden Fractal is an artifact. Fractally is an artifact, but at the base layer, there is EOS. So we have to leverage that. If you believe in that, build something together. Gavriel is building 45 hectares in jungle with Cohaven, Gamazzote, Finca. That's something that's matter. EOS Digital Extended Network, that was my platform. That's my platform, and that's continue. It's not because I am not elected today that I will not continue. I am behind. I will follow you, chase you. So now we have all to be Bat Nova Bat, Batmans, lions, and not sheeps, and work in good lion troop. Wisdom lion, not aggressive lion. Wisdom lion with peace. So think about that. Think about that, because we are a little group, we can become more and more. So that's the time to do the things now when we are little. We have the right to fail. We have the right to pivot. We have the right to be a bastard sometimes. We have the right to improve. So that's not the time to complain. So that's the time to join our force together, and similarly and similarly and similarly. Yeah, Lennie. Let's go. Don't be depressed. Voilà.
Voila. Okay. Dan Singjoy.
Yeah, the best dog in the galaxy. Woo-hoo.
Voila. Thank you, Pat Lovejoy. Great speech. Great to hear from you and from everybody, and a lot of great points there. Yeah, I just wanted to add to that a bit, and also add to the discussion. People brought up Eden Fractal a bit. So first, thanks everybody for bringing up Eden Fractal and Fractally. I think that these processes are super helpful for the Eden on EOS community and EOS community and everybody really. So I'm really happy to hear that whenever anybody brings that up, and working a lot on Eden Fractal. So I just wanted to share a little bit more about that. Invite everybody to join the Eden Fractal meetings like Patrick did too. Patrick and a couple others already did a great job. So perhaps some of this might be a little bit of a repeat, but well, also one thing I want to say to Patrick, congratulations and thank you so much, Patrick, for a awesome term as a season 5 chief delegate, as well as Joshua as well. Big shout out to Joshua, and also big shout out to Joe and Nathan James, as well as everybody else who joined the calls and has been doing great work in the chats and everything like that. So thanks everybody so much on a great season, as well as all the delegates that came before us. Big shout out to Lovejoy as well. Thank you, Brandon, for hosting this again and holding a great show for us. And also shout out to the season 1 chief delegates, the Space Monkeys, who got us here, and all the other chief delegates and all the other great work beforehand too. Yeah, and then I wanted to add for Eden Fractal, I invite everybody to join. We have these meetings every Wednesday. We start at 15:30 UTC. It's a really great opportunity to meet the great builders that Patrick was talking about, and many people in the community participate in these often. So I encourage everybody to join. They're really fun. You can do networking with people, and there's been so many great opportunities where people have been, meeting really great friends or great business partners and so forth. So great opportunity on a personal level, and then also on a whole community level. I think that Eden Fractal, I would love to see. I mean, it's great that there's many community members who participate in both these events, but I'd love to see more interaction. And I think that Eden on EOS and Eden and Fractal can do a lot of great things together more. Like there's a lot of amazing synergies there. So I encourage everybody to join. Really great times. We start at 15:30 UTC on Wednesdays, and we play a couple different consensus games. The meetings in total last for a few hours usually, but you're welcome to join for however long if you want to just pop in and say hi for a little bit. There's been, I think, over 70 people participate. There's usually like 15 or 20 people who join. We also publish the videos too, so you can watch them. I'll share some links in the chat at edenfractal.com/videos. There's all the videos we do. We've had 44 meetings now, and I also have been publishing show notes too to feature some of the great work of the builders. For example, Douglas is going next. He recently started Aqueduct, so I encourage people to join other community member events as well. Douglas, for the past 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, has been hosting Aqueduct meetings with the Fractal consensus game kind of process, and also Jorge has been doing amazing work with the Spanish-speaking Fractal for the past 6 months or so now, or something like that. So I encourage everybody to support fellow builders in the community. There's also several other events. I see Eric here. He's hosting an art Fractal for the past few months, which is going awesome. So encourage everybody to join these, and Eden Fractal, everybody's welcome to join for sure. You can also watch the videos at edenfractal.com/videos and join the Telegram group. Happy to answer any questions and happy to discuss it. I'll share some links. And then one thing I want to say too is I saw Douglas and Patrick gave a shout out to the builders in Eden Fractal, or I mean, some of the 2 builders who are working with the code. A lot of people building great things there, but especially Vlad, the Das, and also I had the pleasure to be with Lennie in my room too. They're doing great work. I shared a link to the tools. I've been curating some links about the tools at edencreators.com/tools, and those tools are all open source too. So anybody can use those tools in addition to the excellent tools that the Edenia team has been building too. And I'm planning to help promote all of them as much as I can, because I think they're really helpful. Big shout out to Edenia too for all the great work on the election and everything they've been doing. They've been doing amazing work. So yeah, I kind of wanted to say, one, just thanks everybody and give some shout outs, and then 2, invite everybody to join Eden Fractal meetings and all the other great meetings that people are hosting in the community. And I agree, a lot of people have been saying, I really love the once every 3 month election. It's awesome that we have this day, but it's also great to be able to see people on a more consistent basis, and we meet every week, and everybody's welcome to join. And then also I'll host an Eden Town Hall. So I've been hosting Eden Town Halls for the past, I don't know, 8 or 9 months now. And so I'll be hosting an Eden Town Hall tomorrow at 16 UTC, where I'd be happy to discuss all this stuff with the elections. I invite everybody to join. It'd be great to hear from delegates and people who participated there. So yeah, everybody's welcome to join. I'll share some links in the chat, and go EOS, go Eden, and thanks everybody so much.
Thank you, Dan. I just want to say something. On May 23rd, there will be the Antelope Swiss Workshop number 20, and this one will be the workshop of the year, because there will be a nice panel. I will not unveil all the guests that I have, but I can already unveil that there will be Singjoy for an Eden Fractal update number 6. There will be Vlad and CIC for EOS Din Web3 episode number 2. And there will be just a fantastic guest, and that will do a fantastic marketing on Twitter. I will tweet with my account, Nova Crypto on Twitter, not with Eden On EOS Twitter account, but with my account. That will make a good marketing for Eden On EOS, for Eden Fractal, for Pomelo, for Antelope, because all is connected, and ENF also. So all is connected. We need to work, join our force together. That's the message today, the takeaway. And that's very good that there is only Lennie and Mo that are elected, because like this, that will let incentivizing us to work together. Because if there was maybe 4 CDs on this term again, maybe we will not move as fast that we have to move, and very agile. I'm very happy with this term, I think. What you think? Yeah, baby? Yes, that's great.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. Applause.
Are we, Dan, did you finish up?
That's finished for me.
You had to say?
Yep, I finished. Yeah, sorry, my hand is still up. I'll lower my hand now.
Got it.
But yeah, thanks, Patrick. Great speech. Thanks.
Douglas.
Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, so I actually, my question was sort of following along what we're talking about here right now with Dan especially, which is collaboration, as well as Patrick. Dan, shout out Dan for doing so much work for the Eden Fractal, as well as like all the videos and things he produces. And one thing that I see is a lot of value being created that sort of gets left on the table. And I think that the videos that Dan's produced, he puts a lot of effort into them. They're really good videos. And, you know, that's just one example of opportunities that we can be better connected and be better sharing of things. As a system designer, I always look at what can be declared and what can be sort of changed, right? So in this system, we have our bylaws, and they're pretty much the end all be all, besides a smart contract, of what we stand for, as well as how we present ourselves. In the last few elections, I've been very vocal about upgrading the bylaws, and specifically the mission and vision statement, as well as just making the bylaws discoverable. I went on the website and I couldn't find the bylaws on either website. So that's something that I believe could be improved. So that brings me to my actual question for the chief delegates. Also shout out Lennie. It's great to see you as a chief delegate. And my question to you, as well as Mohammed, is do you plan, and I am looking for a commitment, do you plan to upgrade the bylaws with perhaps a more guiding mission statement or vision statement, showing how we can add value, how we can grow together, and make it clear that this is a collaborative process? Because right now it's and I apologize if the bylaws have been changed. I looked for what I could find online, but creating value for EOS doesn't imply collaboration. It doesn't declare collaboration. So what can we do? And are you willing to make a commitment to change the bylaws? And my last final thought on this is, like, I just see things going off in the distance, right? So all these amazing things are developed, but then they're not necessarily discoverable by outside forces who may gain benefit from the system. So my goal with this question, as well as my goal of my continual involvement, is to not only improve the process, but to improve how somebody looking in would see the process, what they would find first through a regular search and things like that, and how easily accessible can they see the nitty-gritty if that's what they want. And that's my question. So the question, sorry, I rambled a little bit, but the question was, can we get a commitment to maybe improve the line in the bylaw to be more explicit about collaboration? Is that something that you're looking for, or does it seem not important? Do our bylaws not matter in this aspect?
Generally, let me say that my constituents asked me to address the bylaws. So yes, I will be addressing them and looking into them and bettering them however possible. I'd ask the community if they would be interested in a circle that would address bylaws and informing something in that sense, and getting more people engaged in that part of the process.
And similarly here, if Mo is finished, similar here. And I did mention in one of the CD meetings a couple of weeks back, but that I would actually spend the last week here to start digging into the bylaws and similarly, and it hasn't happened yet. Partly because we don't really know where we're going yet and those things. So I didn't put a priority on that. I've helped out in some other things and stuff. But definitely bylaws need to be, they're not good as they are. And current CDs didn't really find it. The thing is the whole package. You got to take the whole package or nothing. So they let it be, which is fair enough. I think that is better than taking something they're not happy with and leave it for the next gang. And now we got 3 months to fix on them. So they are one of the first ones we start look at. And I even in that CD meeting 2 or 3 weeks back mentioned that once I start digging into it, which might be end of coming week already, we'll see after I talk with Mo and stuff, then we'll set up a discussion group or whatever for when we have some ideas, me and Mo, and what we think from our sentiments and how they compare with between us and how we read the community and stuff when it comes to these things. And then we'll call together those that are interested, because at least me, and I'm sure Mo too, we might be the CDs and take decisions and similarly, but they gotta be based on the community. And that's the whole purpose with this system we are putting up. So commitments, I usually always say, nah, no commitments. I had some going up to this position and commitments here, commitments there. I don't give commitments until I really dug down and looked at things. But it's duly noted, and bylaw is something that I've been preaching about. It's got to be fixed. So I mean, but I'm not going to say I'm commitment. Who knows what happens next? So, but that's definitely, I would say, if not, we have bylaw proposal before the 2-week deadline before next election and similar, that I would consider it a failure. Let's put it that way.
Something to Lennie. Now, that's very good. You are beginning this term, and the functionality pushing the bylaw on chain, 3,500 EOS. That's developed by Leicester and Edenia. And from the genesiscommunity.org website, the CDs, current CD will be able to push the bylaw on chain from the website. That will be your click. That will be your click. And that will be our, let's say, consensus decision. And to finish, bit of to give to Gavriel, because I know what he will say. That's very good to have edenelection.com and genesiscommunity.org, that is more technical, to link this website intelligently and speaking the same voice. Then we can do a fantastic marketing. Now I give the mic to Gavriel, and shout out to Gavriel, by the way.
Thank you, Patrick. Like feeding off of what Douglas and Patrick you've raised as well, the question is perhaps more focused to Mo at the moment, but because what I heard from Mo is that you said growing the community size is not your goal, and obviously you'll correct me if I've mistaken that, but that's pretty, I think I'm clear that that's what I heard. Lennie, I thought, having just been in the round with Lennie, growing the community is a goal, which is also my goal, now including as a L1 delegate. How do the two of you, Mo and Lennie, reconcile for the issue of community growth? That's the question.
Who would draw the shortest stick? Who answers first? Let me start, since you know, it sprung off a little bit what we had together, me and Gavriel in the room. No, definitely growth of community is needed, but it's not the first priority to me either, to be honest, because we have a lot of fixing to do. Look at only this election process, small glitches, small issues. Much of that is because we are not seeing the membership between the elections. We don't take care of new arrivals to make sure they get brought into the fold if they wish to be active in elections, etc. It's hinging on the membership to be engaged, and similarly, before we start pushing up. It's got to be easy to come in. Otherwise, look, we have 500 members as per UI that have signed in and been inducted. How many are we here? 23. It's pretty bad. And we were registered 76, but I think it was about 50 that was here. So we got to get our act together when it comes to this guideline. I mean, New Legend has done a marvelous work the last couple of days, and that's going to continue and stuff. And, you know, that's got to be the first priority. But I would say that, again, a failure. I said bylaw. I consider it as another failure unless we are not in a shape where we can actually present very easy instruction. We keep up regular meetings by the end of this term. But I don't want to commit to anything because Mo have another side of things too. So I'll leave it to Mo now.
Well, let me jump in here. bit of fuel for the fire. You don't build a product and then start marketing the product to potential customers. It doesn't work that way. So back over to you, Lennie, if you want to clarify.
Yeah, we did it over 5 terms. How well have we done?
Because we're not growing community. We're sticking with the same size of the community, and we're faffing about with different areas of the product.
No.
One guy wants to do Eden documentation, another one wants to do NFTs, another one wants to do this and that and the other. We're not growing the community to bring in the expertise or the interest, and we're not using the product for what it's meant to be doing. So we're trying to fix something without being able to involve community. It doesn't make sense to me. So again, you can't.
I have an opposite way of doing it. We're contrarians there. I build communities, and then we do things together, and that's a solid one. So we have different ideas, but there's no answer.
But exactly. So that's what I'm saying. We need to build the community, grow the community, and develop what we want the community to have as a product or an experience. So that's the question, is like, how do the two of you reconcile the apparent difference? And maybe Mo can clarify what he means by not trying to build the community.
It's not that not build the community is a mischaracterization of my position. It's not an interest of mine. It's not a goal. I'm not trying to market Eden to outside parties. My goal is to build Eden. Until we have a product that we can market and that we can share with others, I don't see a benefit in attracting more people into this. Let me ask you this question. What purpose does Eden serve? What is Eden? Up until now, the entire community is built around Eden on EOS. The vast majority of the people that are here are for EOS. So if we can't build something that can cater to Eden on EOS, no one else is coming into this. There is nothing. There is no application that is going to benefit anyone else at this point. It's not even a full application that they can use, in my view.
Well, you asked me the question. So you asked, what is Eden? What is Eden? You asked, what is Eden? If we don't have an answer to that question, then what product are you building?
Exactly. At this point, I'm building.
So that has to be done by community, which means growing a community that can contribute to what is Eden.
What is Eden on EOS? The majority of the people here are here because of EOS. So we have that in common. If we're going to bring in people that don't have that in common, we're going to muddy the waters to a point where there's not going to be anything to build. We're only going to be distributing funds to people that are going to be pulling in their own separate directions and not have anything in common worth a shared goal worth building towards.
So you two think that you're on the same page then in terms of how we build community? Because what I'm hearing from Patrick, for example, is that connect the websites and that means marketing to external people, but your views are don't connect the websites, don't do front-end marketing, don't do publicity, don't do branding.
Gavriel, okay, we have 500 members. And we don't even know how to, if you don't know exactly where to go with a link to any of our factual basis up-to-date sites, you Google it and you have 10 pages to go through and scroll and see which one is the right one. We need to, of course, clean up our resource page so we have one central place to find whatever is up-to-date and what is history. It's a circus out on the net. So that's also part of, it's a big job. And that's why I say 5 terms, and we have a lot to be, catching up on. And we got to start that work before we actively push for more people to come in. But I say we'll be there already by the end of this 3 months term.
I'm glad Lennie said that.
Hold on, just to add to that, in terms of Gavriel's point about how do we reconcile our positions. Supposing that Lennie's position is that there's greater importance on attracting more membership, he has his own funds to do that with as well. So he can prioritize his funding towards that on his own. There's no reason why he can't act independently from me in those kind of situations where he sees that there's benefit.
I just want to answer to Gavriel and to you, Mo, by the way, and Lennie. Something that is stating Douglas very good here. He say the bylaws declare EOS value. Every member must agree that new members will adhere to the bylaw. He say, 3 members must agree. So I would be against the system to bring people in that aren't in some way wanting to increase EOS value. When the bylaws improve, there's more chance for a better alignment. Exactly. I just stated that I am inclined that we connect the EdenElection.com website with the Genesis more technical website. That's the intent. Now comes the action and the delivery. So the intent is that we have to be more unified and more inclusive and more cohesive and all those things. But now, if we see with the glasses of the Lennie guy and Mo guy, very action man, if we want to do the things happening in this way, we have to go step by step. So first, go into the white channel, take the result of the Miro board of NS James on this term that is making a fantastic job to see why are you here. Then you take all that. You put that into ChatGPT as you want. You make your own ChatGPT if you want. And we arrive all to the consensus together. What is Eden on EOS? What we want to do together. It's not only one guy or two guys. That's everyone. Then when we have reached consensus together, then we can do the actions. Put the website together, do the things together, and then go marketing aggressively on Twitter and all. Because if you go now marketing on Twitter, what you will say? Someone will say, Eden on EOS is that. One other guy will say, oh, for me, Eden on EOS is that. Then you have a misalignment. Then the external people will say, oh, but what are those guys? They are not even clear between them. So we have to be clear between us.
Right. Well, I've heard that same thing for the past 3 elections, but that's not what Mohammed is talking about addressing from what I'm
but this time that will happen because now, this time that will really happen until I die for sure, because we have the process that Brandon, you can laugh. We have the process better made. All is going fine. We have Luca Persic, very good guy, doing the things very good with this upvote bot. He was chasing, but he's doing a fantastic job. And we have to forget about our behaviors. We have to be more lovers here, loving us each other. And we have to go forward and forget the past. So now move on this term, be inclusive, everyone, and don't point the finger and just do the things. That's what we want. And what to say more? Let's go.
To clarify my position further, I'm structure oriented. For me, it's clear that what we're doing here, that our common thread is EOS. So that's what I'm building around, and that we're here to launch Eden. Eden on EOS is a sub Eden. This is my view of it. Anyone has a different view of it other than Lennie, I'm sorry, next time try to win chief delegate. This time, my position is that that's what it is, and that's what I'm moving towards. My position is that we need to try to have an Eden application that we can that is easy to, or where people can enter and create their own DAOs, their own sub DAOs.
Exactly.
Other than that, what are we doing?
We are just a catalyst. That's the order that will create their DAO and find their why. We are not here to find the why. We are here to create the tools and to be a nice catalyst like Eden Fractal. That's the same. That's a fantastic sandbox engine. We have to create the tools. Then the other people will create their platform like EOS did and others. So
we also push back against everyone that's saying that our lack of membership is a negative. If we can't get people to buy EOS, if the people that are responsible for getting people to buy EOS, because that's not our responsibility, if those people can't get the community to grow, we don't have a community to pull from. We can't induct more people into Eden on EOS. Eden on EOS is only is going to grow as large as the people that are interested in EOS. So If the goal is to have Eden grow, then Eden needs to create new Edens. Tennis Eden, FIFA Eden, whatever sport, different Edens whose priorities are not EOS. They're built on EOS, they're functioning on the blockchain EOS, but they have no interest in what is happening on EOS. We're here to promote and grow that end of it. What benefits EOS? In this way, that's why the governance part of it is also important. It's just we're not there yet. So,
do you will write something on what you stated now? Because I hear you and I think I understand, but you will write something clearly on paper. What are your thoughts exactly for Eden On EOS? You say Eden On EOS is a sub circle or sub thing of Eden. You have a bigger expectation. You say that we can have maybe a ton of Edens flourishing. So that's nice, but if you can put that into a paper, not of 20 page, but maybe one pager or two pager, that we can read and understand what is the more brain, because you have a fantastic brain, and Lennie also together. Like this, we know exactly what is your idea for this term exactly. I will interview you, the both together, by the way, but we will break down. But that will be a nice interview, by the way. But I want really that the people understand what is because here we speak, and the words are words, the writing are writing. So I want really to.
If I might just say, we kind of got elected an hour ago.
Yeah. No rush, huh? No rush,
Two of
sorry.
us, and we have to agree.
No, sorry.
So give us a couple of days at least.
Yeah. Sure.
No, you understand what I mean? Our answers are from the air.
Yeah. Sure.
Let's
quiet.
on that.
I did not present any project. I basically said, this is what I want to do. And
yeah, voilà. That's all.
You'll get it in detail later on.
No, you will not die because of me, Lennie. No, I will not let happening that. Sorry. Do the things quietly. Yeah.
I just want to say one thing, that I don't want to be dismissive of people like Gavriel and their views that we should grow the community. That is definitely a goal. I just don't think that we're there yet. And I'm definitely interested in bringing people into the community that are builders and interested in building DAOs and who have understanding and knowledge regarding the building of DAOs and how that goes about. That are of benefit and want to be continually active in the community. But inducting people for the sake of inducting people the way that we've been doing, that is not going to be of any value.
Where is Eden described as a DAO or a group of DAOs?
Look it up in the book for next time.
That's very beautiful. Nice answer.
All right, let's have the DAO discussion later. I feel like bad. Perry's been hanging out here for like 20 minutes waiting, or maybe half an hour, like waiting to say whatever you got to say.
Thank you, Brandon. Yes, I've been very patient. Thank you very much. I just want to bring attention to something that I am contributing to the community. And I hope you take advantage of it. I hope the new CDs take advantage of it, which is I've taken the stream. Let me get the video on here. You guys can see my face here. I've taken the stream. Uh-oh, scary. I've taken the stream that is DNews, and I'm now streaming it to Telegram. So you can now visit DNews on Telegram. But it's actually more than that. Any Telegram group can simply subscribe to it, and they can receive the same DNews. All of the community members of our community that are contributing and making up the stream on DNews can now be streamed directly into into a Telegram group itself. So I hope that we can do that on our own Telegram group, Eden on EOS, and so I want to make sure that everybody is aware that that's available, and that can be for other groups as well. But I want to make sure that it's available here for this group, and whether we believe we want new members from the outside or whether we want to create different DAOs, either vision is basically, this addresses one of the biggest problems that I see in decentralized communities, which is the very nature of what we're trying to do, the very nature of being decentralized it contradicts having a central repository. And DNews solves that problem, and I hope that you see that it solves it in an elegant way. And all you need to do is, I'll post it here, all you need to do is make the user at DNews Autobot a member of this private group, of our private group, and then I can begin streaming those posts. At the moment, it's like 3 or 4 posts a day, and it comes in, and I'd rather have that than people posting, grabbing, and referring to the DNews Telegram itself, because I don't have comments set on. I don't want to capture the conversation. That's not my goal. I want the conversation to remain in our private group, or wherever, any group. I don't want the conversation to change locations, but I do want to make it easier for everybody, and I want to stream it all there. So that's what I wanted to say. And the other thing I wanted to express here is the same thing I did in my room today, which is my vision for where I think we should go. And you know, the CDs, I hope they take this into consideration. I believe now is a time, we've been around long enough, and now is a time I think we should make big moves. And for me, the big move is to think of us, is to take the parts of governance that I believe are actually working, of traditional governance. And I'll use the case of the United States as an example. In the US, we have 3 branches of government that balance each other, the 3 estates, the legislative, the judicial, and the executive. In a decentralized community, we don't have an executive because we're not centralized. We're the opposite, we're decentralized. In replace of that, I think the perfect replacement of that is a press estate, a press branch. So I believe that the superior design is one that allows the 3 of these to counterbalance each other, just as we do in the United States, in different governments around the world, where the judicial is balancing the executive, and the executive is balancing the legislative, and they're all 3 balancing each other. In our case, I think the translation is something to the effect of Eden on EOS, or as a legislative body, something like what Chris is working on as a judicial estate, a judicial body, and then what Eden Fractal, I think, has really kind of evolved naturally, which is it's kind of collected all the press contributors, or many of them, and I think that could be a third balance, a third estate that balances the 3, and that I believe that all 3 of them should, at some point in the future, I think this is the ultimate design, should receive a funding. And now exactly how that funding is divided, obviously the press doesn't need as much money as the legislative body, which is the one primarily tasked with distributing funds to the community, or distributing funds and funding projects. So that's my vision. That's what I envision. I think we can all work. We can work to that if we create an emulation of that we can emulate that now by creating an account that distributes to each of those DAOs in this way. And so that's my vision, and I hope that it influences somebody in the future, that we can create something like that. And my contribution to the community is this stream of all of our own contributions. So thank you for listening to that. I appreciate it. And I know everybody's tired, and it's 11 o'clock, so that's what I've got to say. Thanks, guys.
I just want to say you, Perry, shout out for dnews.zone, because we have the calendar there that's remind the people that there are meetings. That's gathering RSS feed to take the video and put there. That's great. And that's what I see as value added into dnews.zone, and encourage the people to use the Telegram bot, and then you have the events coming on your dnews.zone. That's very helpful for us, the community. That's great. Now about the press and the third state and all these things, I don't know. We are Eden On EOS. We are creating tools, process. Giant has made a fantastic Eden docs and Eden election guide. That's very well done. That's helped to show what is the power of our operating system. So now we have all the tools. Now we have to build on top and figure out together what is the general consensus, what should be this Eden on EOS indeed. And that's the biggest part, and maybe that will be not, I say already, maybe that will be not solved into this term 6, and I am okay to wait until term 10. That's okay.
Thank you for reminding me. Thank you for reminding me, Patrick. In addition to being able to stream to any Telegram group that desires it, any website can also stream the entire stream or any individual stream by simply reading the RSS that I produce. So I produce my own, I read RSS from other websites, but the actual stream itself produces an RSS. So if you have a website, then you can stream, and you can stream the entire stream, a DNews stream, or any single part of it. It's up to you, to any page on your website, and it's all free. It's all for everybody. That's my contribution, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, I enjoy. Shout out. And yeah, baby.
I've got a question for Mo. Mo, would you say you said earlier that you're not as interested in growing the membership? Would you say that comes more from I'd rather not spend the resources, the time and the energy, the effort, the money, etc., or you just prefer that we not be distracted by new members and just kind of let's focus on what we're doing here and make it as best as possible? Where do you think you land in that spectrum?
All of it. You've addressed everything. In my view, we're not ready to incorporate new members. We don't have the time or energy to teach them and have them catch up if they are not already interested in what we're doing and already part of the ecosystem dedicated to EOS. In terms of creating a new organization that is dedicated to, let's say, FIFA, if they're a soccer Eden, we would have to have an application that they can use. I don't think we have that yet. Something that we can give them and say, this is a piece of software, this is an application where you can log in, where you can vote, that can distribute funds, that can create circles, that can organize your Eden Fractal meetings, that can everything all in one. An application where that we can market as Eden, which I think is what Dan Larimer was trying to do with Fractally eventually, before he abandoned it. So I think that, and Eden also before he left that, but that's a different topic. The point being is that we need an application. We need to finish that work. we need to look at it in terms of what was the end goal. And once we have that, we can really start working on getting different communities involved.
A stream, if somebody has rights to the main EOS channel, the primary EOS _ project, I think it is, I can stream DNews there with a link to sign up to this group. So it's a constant stream of something that's valuable and interesting and will get the attention of individuals that they can share, that they will be sharing. And at the same time, it will have a link. Every post will have a link to the sign up page to this group. That will cost nobody anything. And I think it's an easy thing to do. And I think it would only be a plus for this group. So that's what I'd like to suggest. So now you've got two offers on the table. One of them for the Eden on EOS, and one of them for the general EOS group. And I know there are admins in this group right now that can do one or both of those. So I'd ask, if that happens, to do that, all you need to do is add this user at DNews Autobot. That's it. That's all you need to do. Just those.
Okay. In my view, that's fine, as long as we have our why clear.
You have your what, sir?
Our why clear. If those people know why they're joining and understand what that entails, 100%, let them join. Let the community grow in a way. But I want quality people that are invested in growing Eden on EOS right now.
Well, I think our webpage should say exactly that if it doesn't. Now, the fact that we have a divided community, that's a completely different. We don't know when that's going to be resolved, or if ever. We just don't know that. But
that's another question in itself. Why are they joining? I'm saying that's another question within itself. Why are they joining? Are they joining to get funding for their projects, or are they joining to participate in building an application? Are they joining to participate in some sort of governance structure?
Well, I don't know the answer to that question, but whatever the answer to that question is, it should show up on the page that I would send to. And if we don't have an answer to that, then I don't know what to say. I'm suggesting simply to drive people an easy, cheap, zero cost way to drive people to that site that at the same time educates everybody with our own content, what we're all about, and it's just automatically posted. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Yeah. Gavriel, I see a scary face. Are you scared? What are you scared of?
Gavriel is a static.
Nathan's work was to help answer that question, and 3 months after, if you guys are still asking the same question, then
get an answer.
Are we work a proposal system or whatever? It's like, I don't know, either Nathan hasn't communicated his discovery yet. He did say he was going to do a summary of what he learned, but how we're still asking the same question a year after I joined the community is bizarre.
I'm waiting on his answer. I was just going to say Nathan has the answer to that question. So whenever he feels like letting us know.
Hallelujah. We are saved. You know what? Daniel Larimer has left the community not because he was not believing anymore in EOS and Eden on EOS and Fractally. He has left the community. He has left the community because he thinks that the humans their brain are stupid. That's why he has left, and now he's connected with God and the church. And by the way, shout out to Daniel Larimer. He has the right to do so after all what he has made. That's a pain when in the house, when you have people that are still figuring out of the sexual life of the bees in Alaska. So at a point you have to move on and not to be stuck at. And I agree totally with Mo, with Lennie. We have to do the thing step by step. And then it's not just about one man that want to do maybe the new God or the new church or the new press or the new, I don't know. We are building tools here. We are the catalyst. Then the other will figure out, and we will do a fantastic marketing when we are at least connected together and aligned together what we are doing here. So I am okay to wait.
Shall we let Eric say some words?
Yeah,
too?
Eric. Yeah, Eric. He's burning. So let's go. Let's go, Eric. Hello, Eric. You are welcome. Let's go.
Hey, everyone. You know, I've had a lot of experience growing volunteer, nonprofit, and commercial organizations. And I've seen lots of successes doing that, from the idea of we're a solution looking for a problem. We're just passionate about technology. Let's figure out how we can use it. And I've seen the other way. It's a problem looking for a solution. We're a bunch of people who want to solve a problem, and they're both successful. But I think Mohammed is right when you have to figure out which one you are. And once you figure that out, there's a whole funnel, sales, marketing, production funnel, saying how does somebody find out about you? How do they get in? How do they take action? How do they get a product or solution delivered? But the phases of organizations they grow shifts. So you never want to forget that the whole thing is a funnel from end to start to end of where you're going. But Mohammed is exactly right. You focus where you need to be. In general, the initial focus is kind of on marketing. Who are we? What are we trying to do? Not to have the answer solid, but enough that you can move forward. I mean, you kind of have to have an idea of what direction, what destination we think we're going. What do we think the journey looks like? But you don't know, because it's like any journey. You might end up in a different place. But that idea of having a marketing enough to do it, then focus tends to go on production. Let's have something we can show people. After that, it really goes into, come here, look at this. Is this right? So it's really kind of one-on-one, taking people through this and getting feedback to see, you know, do we really have something? And the purpose of that is to get product market fit. The solution and the customers match. And after that point, it goes really into marketing. Back then, where you've got something that people like, now you want to start feeding people into the system. And then after that, marketing continues in production. So I'm just saying, I endorse Mohammed's idea that you have to figure out why you're doing it. Is it because you're passionate about the product, or you're passionate about the customer or some group of people who's solving a problem? And you have to figure out where you are in the focus. But at the same time, I endorse, you can't ignore the other stuff, because the right thing is you need to start marketing before you're ready to go. So you need to constantly be testing that, even if it's just a trickle, to get better. And for those that don't, my passion is taking the work here and moving it out in the real world. So I'm like starting with the customer side of it. That's what I picked. Art Fractal community because it was easy, and it's for my doctoral dissertation too. So I kind of have certain reasons for doing things. But my real passion is making something easy to use that we can get and make people's lives better. And I know Andrew Ware has passions about helping musicians. And so I think realizing that there's a bigger picture out there of somebody coming up with the strategy, the tools, the business, the user customer interfaces to take whatever we do here and roll it out so that it can be used and solve worldwide problems. That's my ultimate goal. So I'm always conscious of that. And that's my task, is to take this stuff, get it, and put feedback back in to say, yeah, it is easy to use, or this isn't working when we apply it. So there's kind of 3 stages for me. This is up and test the, we've got a sandbox for building an alien worlds, because that's a good test environment to see if it works on that level. And then there's the real world things, which helps real organizations and people.
Do you think about funding beyond the current Treasury? Where is funding going to come from, and how is what you're proposing going to help funding?
I'd say from my end, like I said, I'm firmly based on the Eden on EOS side of it. So I'd like to see us approach, or be able to approach, the ENF in a way where we can collaborate, or the block producers directly in a way where they see value in what we're doing, and we can all be in sync. So that is those are the people that I feel should be funding Eden on EOS. That's Eden on EOS. Eden can be funded by anybody else. We can look for funding for Eden from any other entity that you'd like, if they're interested in what we're doing. So that could be something else. I mean, if there's people that are interested in approaching, I don't know, whatever other enterprise, and seeing how Eden can benefit them, and if they'd like to fund the development of Eden, we can continue to steward that, since we're the largest group with a focus on it and most of the knowledge. But in terms of us right now, I think the ENF should be our partner, and we should be trying to get them to be in line, or ourselves be in line with what can bring benefit to EOS alongside them.
Sure. Do you have a plan or ideas of how that will happen?
As of right now, like Lennie said, we've been chief delegates for the last hour. So as of right now, no. I see a lot of potential in what Joshua Seymour's building. So I hope that something can be done along those lines.
Yeah, and with EOS Digital Extended Network also. So on May 23rd, save the date into your agenda. On May 23rd should be a milestone, very important, because we should be able to market the things. However, if it is not yet all finished, I agree with Eric Westrich. However, if the things are not all, let's say, frozen in the stone, you have the right during the way, the road, to market a little bit to see if you have some traction, but you can only market what you are sure about. That's Eden on EOS is a fantastic sandbox engine. That Eden on EOS is a fantastic operating system on chain. We have to use this force, and then we can market the other things only when we know. But before that we know, it's an error to go and doing aggressive marketing and all. But it's great to do some step-by-step tractions and use this Twitter account that you will receive the credential on this term to do some intelligent tweet when it is the time, no rush. I agree, Lennie, Mo, you are freshly elected. That's not now that we will discuss how to do, but that will come. So I put into my agenda May 23rd. It's an important milestone. Why May 23rd? Because we are today the 8th April, and I think May 23rd is already 1 month later of this date, and we have to be committed into this Eden term. That's 3 months. Milestone for the first month, milestone for the second, and milestone for the third. Like this, when you come at the end of the third month, you have made something. You can see you into a window. Whatever happen, if ENF is funding us or not, we have to help us between us. And then if ENF pay attention to us, that's the Irish on the cake.
What we, for Eden on EOS, I'm talking about, that's one of the first things we have to kind of, decide. Are we now chief delegates for Eden on EOS and similar? Because I, in all honesty, there's still some confusion in these things. What is what? So we have to make a decision, first of all. Are we pushing EOS, or do we do something? But I mean, for me, it's a clear thing. We are pushing EOS. And if we are pushing EOS through whatever we are doing and achieving, then we do deserve payment from the inflation and similarly. Except if you want to be ENF or whatever, I can't say now. I have to dig deep into it, and it doesn't take long. It sounds like politicians stretching it out over long term. No, that's not it. But I do not give answers when I don't have the answer, and I need to read up on it. That's my stance on it. But I do feel that inflation should help. That's where we have inflation and it's being dished out. If we help to organize things and make it more attractive, EOS system and platform, Antelope or whatever, we deserve part of the inflation. I'm with you, Mo, totally on that one. But of course, we need to do other things. And one thing always comes to mind with me, they say, oh, we got to have something to market, to sell and similar. We had that 10, 15 months ago already. Chapter and these guys, they were already putting it together and kind of a halfway there, everyone was on board. I don't know what happened. It just fell apart completely. If it was because, I don't know the facts around it, but it totally fell apart. So, you know, we got to take care of our community, our members, and similarly, and whatever resources and powers we have or strength, we got to utilize that. Me or Mo is not going to fix anything, but we got to encourage a team that can help doing these things. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I'd add to that Eve has repeatedly told us to spend the treasury and ask for money.
Mm-hmm.
It's on us to justify where we spent the treasury and then be able to ask for money. If we can't spend it correctly, then they have no reason to give us money.
Exactly. And there is the unclaimed funds coming back to the treasury. So that's great. And yeah, you are here to lead, and us, we have to work with you. Totally. I see an answer of Douglas in the chat.
I just want to say, if at the end of the day we spend the treasury and Eve tells us that we didn't spend it the right way, or the ENF decides, or the block producers see fit to say that we didn't spend it the right way, and they have no interest in funding Eden, then so be it. But we gave it our best shot, and we did what we could with the money in the best way possible. To stretch this process out into nothingness is, I mean, if we want to keep going after that, it'll be the people that are diehard fans of this and really see potential. I'm one of them.
I think if we want to make a difference on this term, and that ENF Yves Larose, let's say ENF Yves Larose, is paying more attention to what we do, we should do something incredible, something that we have never seen on these 5 terms, something that will encourage the people to join or to jump into this Eden on EOS. But we have not to wait too long. I think that's my opinion. That's my opinion. If we are at the end of this May, and we have a better vision, let's say a better action plan, what we have to do, that's great. And then we'll have ENF paying maybe more attention to what we do, because he was very clear during our call, the CDs, he was very clear. He stated, get something to take away of that, both you have to strengthen the processes, you have to strengthen the base, and we have made that. Now it's no more the point about are we the tech, are we the bot, are we all that we have. So now it's the time to build on top of that and make the best experience possible between the people, between the humans, the behavior, and all that. And that's the moment. Otherwise, 5 elections for that, or 6 elections for that. The 6th election is the turning point now to make the things more connected. My opinion on that. Yeah, Gavriel, sorry.
Yeah, Yves might have said, spend the money and then come back for more, and they'll make a decision. I would imagine that it's helpful to understand the ENF's perspective on what they see as success for the Eden experiment. Yves has called it an experiment, at least like a number of times. But to understand their success criteria or their perspective of what constitutes a good experiment seems worthwhile, so that we can use that as a bellwether to help guide what we are doing and how we go about doing it.
He will answer, it's to you guys. I know already the answer. He will say, wrong answer, guy. That's to you to figure out what are the success keys that you want to see happening into your dream.
Well, okay, so I get it. He called it an experiment. An experiment has to have a hypothesis. So let's understand what the ENF's hypothesis is, and then we can understand how do we approach that in a conversation that aligns with the hypothesis, rather than being in a black box completely. We should at least know what their hypothesis is. Brandon Lovejoy, maybe you can help to create a bridge of conversation, or maybe you've got insight that you're willing or able to share.
Can I jump in just a short comment? I've seen every CD shift over with EOS and similar, and it's always been the same message. Figure it out, boy. I mean, we should not tailor make and seek to have measurements from ENF, what we're doing. We figure out what we feel is beneficial, and so then we might negotiate with them. What do you think is similar? We've got to have something to bring on the table. And similarly, not try to tailor make it and ask them, that's not, then we are kind of custom making ENF's wishes, and similar block producer. We want the community's wishes. How do we proceed? And then hopefully we can make that match up or amend it or tweak it a bit, so that it hopefully can also come in the graces of block producers and ENF. That's
the same for Eden Fractal. The same for Eden Fractal. We have to do our things into our circle, grow the value of the Eden Fractal circle. And when the Eden Fractal circle has enough value, that's the time to connect with other circles and to help us together. And maybe at this point, ENF will say, wow.
Value measured by what, Patrick? What does that mean, value?
When I say that a circle has to have more value into your own circle, I mean about societal, economical, technological. So when the technological circle base layer is good, then you go to the, or in parallel, to the economical layer, making the MSIG very great, the disbursement of the funds very well made. You generate a total value locked of EOS into your circle, human-generated finance, something self-generated or cash flow. And then you have another circle like ENF saying, wow, Eden Fractal or Eden On EOS, you are working very well, guys. You deserve to be funded. That's the moment. Now we will fund you because you are very clear with what you do. You have understood what you do. You are aligned between yours. You are 76. Wow, you are all aligned. Wow, perfect. That's the time to help. Before
the ENF funded Haifa with $850,000.
Yeah, that's a shame, by the way. That's a shame.
With very specific requirements.
Yeah.
Of what success looks like.
They were just a minor correction. They weren't funded with $850,000. They were that was the total amount, and it was like milestone based, so they don't get paid unless they reach milestones.
They pay only ENF, IFA and CTF the same when they have reached the milestone. Then they pay on satisfaction. And by the way, IFA is not doing what is supposed to be the about process here into Eden On EOS. They are not really doing the same process. So
I don't know if that's true or not. I have heard that from people, and I checked, and it is still a milestone. It has not been reached yet, but including the Eden election or the upvote election process or whatever you want to call it is still a milestone.
Okay.
So
no, I stated about the process, how it works, the election there into IFA, the upvote process. Luca has made some reaching to IFA, and he has see the processes, the Figma that I don't remember the name of the guy of IFA. Doesn't matter. He was sharing some. Yeah, exactly. He was sharing some Figma and other things. And it seems that it is not working exactly how Eden On EOS is designed. So that's why I don't think if IFA is really a thing for Eden On EOS, or if IFA is more a thing maybe to create DAOs like for you, Gavriel, into Yucatan with your co-event space and all that. IFA could be fantastic, but for us, for Eden On EOS, I don't know if you are really connected with IFA, or if we should not do our things on our own, grow the values, and maybe then connect more with IFA, because now we are not really connected with IFA. Lennie, I don't know, but
my point is that ENF funded Haifa for a reason, and if we're it totally doesn't make sense to me to spend ENF's money and whatever the group of us, 20 of us, or the 2 elected CDs want to do, and then go back to the ENF when the treasury is empty and says, hey, look, this is what we did. Do you like it? Can we have some more money? It totally doesn't make sense to me. I don't know where that idea comes from at all.
And I don't think the new CDs have suggested that. So please, can we do a bit more productive discussion? Give us a couple of days. Give us a couple of days, please, and then we can put guidelines. We got some.
Yeah, sure. We will give you 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, no problem. We are just speaking here and brainstorming a little bit. Not staying to you, Lennie, that you have to die tomorrow. By the way, you have to stay ilty.
I already have 2 guests for my 100th birthday. That's
I'll be right back.
So don't worry, I'll be around.
So you are a head chief delegate, Lennie. You are both guy, and you are the head chief delegate. That's incredible. Nice.
True enough, true enough. But you see, the thing is, I'm also a pretty boring guy because I'm all for productivity and similarly. So now I cannot be as much a fly on the wall as I used to be. Now I will express my opinions more. But you know, I'm a dry, boring guy. I want to see results. That's me. But you guys don't know that yet. Thanks.
No, I know already that you are very committed. And now you will have the real Lennie here, and the real Douglas, and the real Gavriel. We are all committed. We are hungry. We will work for Eden.
We just
I don't know where Brandon went, but I see that Dan have a hand up, so let him maybe speak too.
I have a few rambling thoughts I'll share, I suppose, and then we probably should wrap it up because we're approaching the next hour here. Gav asked about Haifa and thoughts and such. Obviously I can't speak like officially for the ENF, but I'll just say from my perspective, I've started regarding Eden a bit like a test net personally. Like I feel like this is like a proving ground for you know, what we can do with this style of governance, what we can do for the network. And so it's kind of incumbent upon us to demonstrate some form of value. And I'm also like a pretty big fan of the tools and the amount of thought and the development that Haifa is doing. And one of the things that, you know, has kind of made me a little less like enthusiastic about Eden as the days have gone by is just like, you know, the recognition that since Dan left, I mean, like Dan, if we're honest with ourselves, like Dan's like driving vision originally of this whole process was like a real, you know, major force and factor into why it got as much funding and why it got as far as it did. And when like all the active development stopped pretty much on Eden, it really threw a wrench in the works. And that was a while ago now. And, you know, big props to Edenia and everyone else that's kind of picked up the pieces and tried to move it forward. But there's a lot of things that were never really, have not yet been done. And like, you know, Mo, obviously you're doing a lot of great work with the reputation system. I've been part of that conversation too. And I'm super excited to see that sort of thing. I'm the type of person that wants to see everything kind of like take the best of all the different worlds and smurge them together. So I'm very like interested in like a Haifa Eden collaboration to the extent that that's possible. I feel like the active development and the product kind of focus from that team is very cool and has the capacity to be like a public facing thing that can like introduce people into EOS and into the ecosystem in a way that Eden so far has failed, you know, for a variety of like totally legitimate reasons to do in terms of presenting like a coherent, you know, external vision, let alone an internal one for people to like glom onto. And so I don't know, I'm really curious to see, I have a lot of faith in Mo and Lennie as people that have very strong visions and ability to execute and really drive things forward. So I'm really curious where you tilt this experiment. I just would like to see, I don't know. I think Eden as it stands now in terms of funding and all this stuff, like, it remains to be seen if there's like something really coherent and well-formed needs to come out of all this. Like, we've kind of, it's been like death by decentralization in a lot of ways. I'm waiting to see like the gem that emerges from all this, suffering, I guess, like, and all this like wandering in different directions. We need to be those birds that are not all headed different directions and die from exhaustion in the net and get grabbed by the hunter, but the ones that just set their sights on like a common direction. And if that means that Eden needs to split into multiple different groups that have different focuses, that would be preferable to having one group that can't agree on what its focus is. And to that point, I really like what Joshua has been working on. I feel like he's doing a lot of good work around trying to identify what are those key directions that like multiple sub DAOs could kind of focus on. I think that might be one possible solution, but it's going to take some serious, I don't know, bold visions by the current crop of chief delegate and delegates to like really, I think, get Eden moving in a direction that is more definitive and less, I don't know, ambiguous. It's just like we need to get out of this ambiguity problem that we have, like, and I think everyone knows that. So the sooner we do that, the better. And I think having two chief delegates is kind of cool in that you guys can be a little bit more unified and help, you use the bully pulpit, as it were, to kind of like guide this community. You may need to do that. So to save us from like
I agree.
obscurity.
I agree. Lennie and Mo will be very aligned between the both and very well connected and not only connected, aligned, very important. But however, that they will be very well connected and aligned the both, that's not enough. That's need the rest of the Eden community, the delegate level 1, and also the people that are not delegate level 1, and also the people that are not nothing, that are just interested, they have to help. So that will never be solved just by 2 man. We need an army. So like the bees, I take the example of the bees, and to inject the best nectar into the mindset of the people. And the best nectar is what? EOS. And we have to leverage EOS, give value for EOS. And what could be this army? Eden on EOS, Eden Fractal also. But we speak here about Eden on EOS. So we have to help those 2 people that are elected today to show them respect, going every week into a call, into a CD meeting call, or every 2 weeks. I don't know what will be the frequency, but we have to be together and not think about only our own person and our own success. The success is all together. So, and then you success also. If you success all together, you success also. So yeah, it seems to be that I say bullshit here. But that's what I mean at the present moment. It's not enough. Lennie and Mo, all the respect, but that's not enough. Just Lennie and Mo. We need to be all together into this and to help them.
I would also like to just building on this idea of success and the idea of what I was saying before is like if Eden needs to like transform in order to succeed. And a lot of people, I think, are just attached to like a particular format. I mean, we've seen different experiments spin off already, like with Fractally and with, you know, the stuff that Douglas is pointing out here in the chat. But you know, if you're testing out a new airplane and it crashes in the mountains, or you know, runs out of fuel, but you manage to take like the things that made that airplane really great and the crew from that airplane and march out of the mountains and make like an even better community and a better experiment, and you know, do like another iteration that can actually like bring everyone together and cross the distance that you were trying to cross in the beginning. That's a success. Like to me it's not a success to like stay in the mountains like with the wreckage of the airplane. I'm not saying that Eden is like a wreckage of an airplane. I'm just but in the scenario that like the tools need to be like taken apart and reformed sometimes in order to like see a thing through. Like it's the vision we should be attached to, not the tools, I guess. And however we need to like recompose or decompose and then recompose the tools in order to get where we need to go. Like we can't view any of this stuff as sacred. We need to just, I mean, nothing is sacred, everything is sacred, right? You know, it's like we need to decide on the destination and then get there by any means necessary, essentially. Like, and those means, I think we have a lot of the tools and the resources and like a network that's kind of on the rebound now. So figuring out how we're gonna lead and recompose ourselves in a coherent way that signals value and coherence to like the outside world and invites other people in ultimately, and to tools that work and everyone feels good about using. Like it's a tall order, but I think we can do it. But it may not be that we get there looking like we do now. That's my only thought.
The problem is that the plane got hijacked.
Yeah, no, I would
The
say
captain
that
jumped out with the parachute and everyone else was on the airplane.
No.
let me just take a
it
minute
got
to change
hijacked.
it and flip that metaphor. It's not really a plane that we're on. We're on a motorcycle. We're on a bicycle.
Okay.
And we're picking up parts along the way and slapping them onto that bicycle that's turning into a motorcycle, and turning into a car that's eventually going to turn into a plane. That's where we're at right now. We're slapping pieces onto this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So just to kind of flip that metaphor and to look at it from a different perspective, because to assume that we were an airplane from the get-go, I think is erroneous. We weren't given an airplane.
But what I would say is it's not so much like the technology that, you know, it's like, okay, yeah, we started off with a bicycle and then we got a motorcycle and then we're getting to a car. But it may be like, you know, if you've ever done that before, if you've built something like that from scratch, you might realize at some point that there's a bunch of mismatched tools and it's more trouble than it's worth to try and like keep all this, like, it's like that Johnny Cash song, you know, I got it one piece at a time. He ends up with this like really weird mismatched car. It's like at some point you might say, well, what's valuable here is the knowledge and the code and like the idea of how to build a better vehicle. You know, it's like any auto manufacturer doesn't like just, you don't see like the Model T Ford like keep just bolting new things onto it. No, they started with a completely new platform at some point and said like, actually, we can just build this from the ground up better in a more coherent way that supports all this stuff, all these features we want in a car. So I'm just saying we shouldn't be afraid to like, you know, tear things apart and put them back together again. It's ultimately like if our goal is, you know, DAOs on DAOs on DAOs or whatever we want to do, like in service of EOS, and then, you know, other projects that can kind of live in the community that may have their own agenda, you know, we may need to consider, you know, how we're going to get there is maybe not just additive purely, I guess.
If I can, I think like I'm really excited for like this line of conversation, and I for one like want to give a shout out to every single person who touched the code in all of these tools, because I see it as a pretty good machine and pretty good parts lying about. And not only that, like there's actually now multiple ways to build it up, right? So to make that useful, yeah, people do have to be able to find that. And if we sort of get impatient, we might say, oh, there's not enough discoverability. But at the same time, these parts are now laying about, and in the future, you know, anything is possible. Things can go viral and blow up quickly. You know, it is our time, as Mo has said, to prepare and to make the ship be sailable through the oceans to come. One thing that really jumps to mind, and I hope that others can get behind, is to phrase the bylaws and really phrase the dialogue to be more positive towards the entire Antelope chain ecosystem, not just EOS, right? I don't think it's serving anyone, as far as I can tell, to just be focused on EOS. My DApp is on Wax. I'm a little bit biased. I plan to build on Telos as well. And, you know, Haifa natively on Telos. So, you know, Alien Worlds on Wax, one of the biggest NFTs, you know, anywhere. So I think that with 2 people, now more than ever is the time to charge forward quickly. And I will reiterate what I put into the chat earlier, saying that, you know, you are our representative elected. So please, you know, I totally agree. We need to get together. We need to have these chats, but don't be afraid to move forward and, you know, publish a changes to the bylaw without everybody agreeing, right? Not saying that we shouldn't get together and talk about it, but let's move forward with 2 and do what you want to do. And it has to be ratified next bylaws, of course. And, you know, there's always the option to change. So, yeah, shout out what Lovejoy's saying, like, let's move forward fast and break things and see what happens. And the final point is, like, I think that what I've learned from all of this so far is really the power of social systems and what brings us together. And to put that in the bylaws is, in my mind, the codification of that, which is what I like. But, you know, I implore everybody to look into what our motivations are for being here, how to improve that by giving us the rewards that we're actually seeking, and then, you know, decide what can grow us, not just from a sort of codified way, but in sort of mannerisms, like having talking points, like we do in Eden Fractal. We have a whole process for that. But, you know, just some ideas. I'm rambling at this point, but thank you all for listening and good luck.
Yeah, Douglas, I just want to complete what you say. Totally, the bylaws now with 2 guys here, one head chief delegate, Lennie, the other, the CD, and they are the both. That's beautiful. They can build, but they can create, they can write great bylaws that we can then ratify. We have the tools to push those bylaws on chain. That's the fantastic point of this term. Now Edenia is building that. I am happy on that. I was a little bit not okay to not approve the bylaws and not to ratify them on my term, but I was not, as I said many times, I was not the only CD into my term. I had to compose with the 3 other one together, but we have reached consensus on an episode, and we were stating, okay, we cannot into this situation approve them and ratify them. We were very clear. We have making the voice clear into an episode. There was Chris Barnes jumping in. We were very clear. So now I am happy if this bylaw can be created on this term. And I think the users have the right to jump from one Antelope network chain to one other Antelope network chain. As soon as it is into the Antelope coalition, we have Wax, Telos, UX, and the EOS mainnet. And yeah, the EOS mainnet is the entry point to go then to other blockchain, because the EOS mainnet is the most battle tested blockchain and all. And I am happy if we can jump from one Antelope network to another with the IBC and all that. And I think IBC is very key into our process doing the things, because we are not only focused on EOS, the mainnet, we are also focused on Wax, because there are the Alien World, Fractal, We can have maybe new user coming onboarding into Eden On EOS thanks to the CBIL check protection mitigation by Jesse and Sashit and the reputation system with Mo that they have built. So we have to accept other users coming from other blockchain and into this Antelope coalition. That's great. That's very great. That's benefits Eden On EOS. That's grow the participation. So, but again, we have to work on that together. And there are platforms built, EOS Digital Extended Network. There is Eden Fractal. If you can see Eden Fractal also like a kind of platform or catalyst. So we help each other. And sorry, Douglas, there is also your platform that you are building also. So indeed, we have to leverage all our platform together, our circles together. Again, it's about circles. So like this, Eden On EOS will have better visibility, better traction, and to be governed by two guys, leaded by two guys, is better maybe that to be leaded by 4 or 5 CD, because sometimes that's not move as fast as that has to move. So I think it's a precedent on this one. That's a good outcome. I am very happy. I stop there.
We started with one guy, so
I stop here. And shout out again, and thank you, Douglas. You are putting a good stone into the water as always. Good vibes. And,
yeah, but honestly, like I said something about the entry point. Like, yeah, we are united on EOS, and to anybody who wasn't here, like when Dan Larimer was at I think it was probably the first election, like we asked him, is this about all of EOS.io? Then it was, or just EOS, and he was positive towards, from my best recollection, of it being for everything, but not like directly saying like, yeah, let's make it for all. So an option to change the bylaws would be to just add it as an appendage, to be like, you know, whatever you change the value part to, however we break down what value is, and break down if we do Eden, or like if we're here for Eden or just to add value to EOS. But what was I saying? Yeah, you could add EOS.io or Antelope change, sorry, at the end, or you could make it about all Antelope change, which probably wouldn't make the most sense because you would have to, you know, it's Eden on EOS, not Eden on Antelope. But yeah, I wanted to like say like that. I think Dan Larimer, if he were here, he would at least be open to the idea of adding it. Maybe we could talk to him, but my real point about the entry point was like, there's so many more users on Wax. And I'm here because of finding Dan Larimer through Wax and Steemit. I would think that almost everybody, or at least half the people here, have some sort of connection outside of EOS, you know, to bring them here. So why are we sort of closing ourselves out, especially when our numbers are dwindling from these points? And right now, you know, we've been beating this drum of, okay, let's get united. Well, let's sort of declare our tribe, you know, right now at this meeting. Not that this matters, like this is an ideological thing, but in our minds, we have to decide like, okay, if we are going to redefine what our community is and make the bylaws more community oriented, is it time to make Eden on EOS also include antelopes in the bylaws as well, right? And that does open up a lot of changes. There is the viewpoint, like Patrick said, of people come into EOS and then we have separate Edens for all the other chains. I think that does make sense in an ideal world, but the fact is, like, in order to grow and in order to get better, we need to be as friendly as possible to the best builders and the best people on this technology. And it is the same, more or less, technology across Antelope chains. So let this be my rant to declare my support for all Antelope chains going forward, and to please plead for this to go into the bylaws next term.
Let me just round off my part here verbally, so to say, a little bit on bylaws and the chains and similar. The trick is, I mean, I've been working much with bylaws in international organizations and similarly, and redone the really big ones, and that's a long, big work. The key is short, sweet, crystal clear, and also not to put too much in it. Like for instance, chains and similar. I'm for all for Antelope, the whole works, but you don't specify such things in a bylaw. You specify the process for such things to happen and similar. So, I mean, it's all that thinking, the verbiage, you know, how you fall. That's what takes time, not the specific ideas and similar. Just to clarify my stance when I say that you got to dive deep and think hard, is to get it right.
Yeah, and you know, on that point, one change to the bylaws that could be added is another codified mechanism that is in the system. Because outside of the smart contracts, which I'm not even sure are in the bylaws, as far as I know, that's the only actual systemic declaration of what we're doing here. And if we do want to grow eventually, we need a better systematic, you know, declaration of these things outside of the white paper. So we can add that as an appendage or like as a separate document. Or, you know, because the reason I say bylaws all the time for everything, even when it's not appropriate, is because that's what we have, right? So that's the only thing that we can change within the system about the system itself. So that's sort of like our playground in my eyes.
Normally in big organizations, we are not a big organization, but the big organizations, you have bylaws and regulations, referencing the regulations, and that's a bit easier to modify. That can be specific, double as many pages, 3 times more pages, more detailed specifics you can change there, not the statutes or the constitution or the bylaws. There's so many different names for it. So, I mean, I know where you're coming from, and I got a lot of experience there, but that's why I want to do it right this time together with Mo and the community. That's the whole idea.
Thank you.
My only pushback on that would be that, again, I'm focused on EOS, Eden on EOS. What I think you're discussing or speaking to towards is Eden, which I'm all for. Again, you know, Eden on EOS is going to launch Eden. So Eden needs to be friendly to all kinds of organizations, not just EOS. And it needs to have bylaws that reflect that. Eden on EOS, however, should have, I'm only speaking to the Antelope part that you were mentioning. In my view, there should be Eden on EOS, Eden on Wax, Eden on Telos, Eden on, and all of these organizations come together at a higher level where they cooperate, but are focused on their own blockchains. They can come together at an Antelope level.
I tend to agree with you there first off, but I got to think more about it now because it makes more sense. Each one have their own because got their own specifics, and then you have your common DAO on top of it, which extends to further.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I like the idea of you know, individual communities kind of representing, you know, so Wax can have its crew and, you know, and there can be crossover between them, Wax and EOS and Telos and UX and probably like a dozen more, you know, and then some on top of that. But, you know, it's like when you live in a place locally, you're just so much more connected with the people that you see and work with every day. And that allows you to like, you know, synergize better and stuff. If you try to like make things too spread out and too amorphous kind of across multiple communities, I mean, I think we can get there, but we should start there by, you know, working on our own respective communities first and then bridge to each other rather than try and create some uber Antelope community. Although I will say that Brian, who was here, who would have been chief delegate from that room, I think he's very focused on like more Antelope stuff, so he's probably a good person to talk to.
But a good example to take, you have Pomelo, and Pomelo is privileging a project that built on EOS, but you can be of another network like Telos or Wax or UX, and you come in Pomelo, but your product, your solution, your public good is benefiting EOS. That's why I stated to Douglas before.
Not anymore, though.
No, but that's why I stated, just to continue the logic, that's why I stated before that the EOS should be the entry, let's say the entry point. But that's what I figured out with EOS Digital Extended Network that I am building, stating that a user or an affiliate of EOS DIN can jump from an Antelope network to another. That's at the end benefits EOS because the solution that he is creating is for EOS indeed. But he can come from another network, that's okay. He could use EOS EVM and build on Solidity and being in Ethereum, and that's benefit EOS at the end. So that's why Eden on EOS, we have to give the mission statement currently is it's to give more value for EOS. And there was another mission statement also birthed on the term 4 with Reiki. That was that's human verified people working between them and creating the best protocol, the best processes, and let's create other DAOs outside of Eden on EOS. Eden on EOS is just the sandbox layer, the sandbox engine, and then you will have DAOs flourishing or Edens flourishing, like Mo, you were stating, Eden flourishing, and each of the circle, Eden or DAO, how you want to call it, will have to figure out what are their why. But us, we are not really defining what is the why. We are defining what are the best values that we want to raise for others to use. So again, that's me speaking, sorry. That's my opinion. And
let me ask this question.
Yeah.
Can an Eden member be involved in more than one Eden? If you're an Eden on EOS, can you also be an Eden on Wax or an Eden on Telos?
But you have to begin somewhere. You have to begin somewhere. Otherwise, you have the eyes bigger than the body. You need a genesis. That's what we are, a genesis. We have to be a genesis to begin somewhere, and then you can call all the station. Genesis call all the station. That's that, calling all stations and be collaborative circles. We have to begin somewhere, and that's the thing that we know at most is EOS. That's where we are born. That's where Daniel Larimer was pushing us. Now he has leave. But by the way, are we still a raison d'être because Daniel Larimer has leave? Oh yes, we have a raison d'être because we can continue the ship. So we have to begin somewhere. So EOS is the place to begin, and then we will have other Eden for sure on Wax, on Telos, on whatever.
So in that spirit, you could also be a member of Eden on Antelope IO and just be working on all of them.
We are all brother of Antelope, yeah. I am an Antelope, by the way. Antelope. I am an Antelope. Yeah, we are all Antelope. We are all in EOS. So yeah. So.
I'm still not sold on the whole Eden on XYZ thing, naming convention for everything. I feel like we should have a more like, you know, I don't know, there needs to be like another way of organizing this. So it's like the same problem with every project. It's like,
yeah,
EOS.io and EOS, and you know, we need more differentiation between all these different things.
But Brandon, you can change the name now in 5 minutes. We change the name of Eden on EOS and we name it that Eden on Eden on flowers, Eden on steroid. You can change the name at any time. But the problem is not the name. The problem is what is behind the name and what is behind the words. And what are we doing here? Why are we here? So, and as James has made this Miro board and all this experiment on this term with this why. And we have made also the, do we should approve the bylaws? There was a poll into the bylaw topic. Very bad, let's say, participation there. For all those reasons, we have taken the decision, okay, that's not the time to us to decide as CDs and to force the people to do the things. We stay quiet. We have made our stuff, and now we have 2 fantastic CD here. There are only 2. That's great. That's very great indeed. And us, we have to follow them and help them. I say always the same thing here, but that's very important until that's come into the inception at 7 level into your mind, 7 level, otherwise you will explode. So, and Marco is here. Mockingbird Sparrow, the best one into the galaxy of the Boeings. Let's go.
I'm going
All
back
right,
to sleep.
final thoughts. I gotta go, you guys. This is getting to be too much. Patrick,
Wait, real quick.
like driving me crazy.
Real quick. I'm going back to sleep. You all hear me? I got a question. Which came first, Eden or EOS?
EOS.
Are you sure?
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
100%, right? Okay, so if you visited w3briefs.com, we got 2 timelines. And this quote comes from 101 Blockchain from an interview with Dan Larimer, where I believe he uses this quote in his book. And that's back in 2018. I know Dan Larimer has talked about governance, it's with Steemit and stuff, but if you take a look at the timeline, Eden goes back to 2018. And Dan Larimer's fine, it's quoted there.
Hello,
As a
Daniel.
name or the concept?
Eden goes back to the to
Name.
Genesis,
I
you know,
know.
like functionally speaking, if you want to like compare. And but EOS is the goddess of the dawn in Greek mythology, so technically maybe that's even older if you want to like start looking for first mentions and are like from archaeological standpoint or, you know,
And
anthropological.
those of us
records.
who were here when Dan introduced these things, it was bit by bit by bit, we got led in that direction, the community, and then it became Eden. So it's a
Okay.
smart guy.
I have just phoned Daniel Larimer. I was in a call with him, and I have asked him if EOS was birthed before Eden on EOS, and he stated, "Yeah, Patrick, you're right. EOS was birthed before Eden on EOS. You have to go back into the Zoom meeting and say to those guys that
Okay,
EOS
Patrick,
was
this is
birthed
great,
before
but-
Eden on EOS." Voila.
Just say.
No, we're in like
Hey,
silly
hey,
hour
guys.
now.
And you know what? I don't care who is birthed at first.
The
Well,
poor people that'll have to
I,
watch this recording. That's
let me just say final thoughts are, I hope that me and Lennie can do great things and move Eden forward and hopefully add more value and productivity and production to this endeavor of ours. And hopefully we can do this with as much buy-in from the community as possible, whether or not there is.
I just say ditto, and give us guys a couple of days to get to know each other. We never even communicated with each one, except few text words in Telegram and stuff. So we'll get our heads together a bit, get to know each other first of all.
What's the middle point? What's the middle point between Cairo and wherever you are?
I'm speaking to God. Okay.
It will be around France somewhere, I think. So it's not too bad. We can meet up in Paris. Me
Have a
and
summit.
Mohammed.
I think you should have a summit in Paris or somewhere nearby.
Interesting that it's actually 2 Europeans. That's
I'll come pour tea if you want. I'll serve tea. You can have a summit.
I think anywhere.
Sorry for calling you European, Mohammed.
Well,
At this point, I propose a vodka.
Technically, he's pretty European. Yeah, technically, you're pretty European.
Half Spanish, half Syrian. Half
Yeah.
Spanish, half.
Well, like I said, we need to get to know each other.
Yeah.
Raised in America. How's that?
Oh
for you?
yeah. Well,
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Don't get me going, but
intercontinental.
okay. Just to wrap it up.
Transatlantic.
My father came from Estonia, Second World War. He was one of these multitude of refugees nowadays. And I was born in Sweden. We both worked in Tonga for 35 years. I married an Indian girl. And then we come back to Sweden now. So talk about mixes of races.
Yeah.
And what
I love it.
What a mix!
Covered a lot of ground.
Oof. And I am married with a Colombian girl, imagine. So
We
what
are
a mix.
citizens of the
I
world.
think we should wrap up soon. We need oxygen.
Yeah, baby. So you know how we close up that? At 3210, we say, go Eden on EOS in chorus with all our heart, soul, and mind. Yeah, baby. Okay, Brandon, and you deserve to pay 2 weeks paid in Bahamas. I will not pay. Okay, so. So we close here and we say at 3, 2, 1, 0, go Eden on EOS.
Eden EOS.
No, go Eden on EOS, then on Wax, on Telos, on what you want, but for the moment, on EOS. And shout out to Mohamed, Diab, Sanchez, Akanem, Mo. I love you. And Lennie Kravitz. No, sorry, Lennie. Only Lennie. All the best. So now,
see you guys.
ready
Around next week.
I will put my hat. Where is my hat?
Till next time.
Bye bye.
Till our next 8-hour call.
Thanks, Brandon. Good job.
Thank you, Brandon.
Voila, I am ready to say here, go Eden on EOS, but you have to raise your hand.
Remember, I said I was a boring, dry one.
Lennie, you have the end or no more the hands. Have you a problem with the hands?
Lennie's gonna rap.
Okay, 3, 2,
Have
and
some
the
bars,
1,
Lennie.
and the 0, and go Eden on EOS.
Eden on EOS.
Hallelujah. Yeah,
Arigato
baby.
gozaimasu.
And thank you, Brandon.
Take care, guys.
Yep.
Namaste. 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 Namaste.